Of course, we're not throwing you behind another 3 hour countdown. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Train Sim World 5 Roadmap live stream. I'm joined today with Matt Pedalston, the executive producer of Trains. Welcome, Matt.
Hello. I was hoping you're going to put that on for at least 2 minutes.
Welcome to the stream. Of course, I'm Alex, the senior community manager here, but you've seen me before if you've watched our live stream, so it should all be familiar. But if you haven't, don't worry, because we're going to talk about everything on how these live streams work, what we're going to be covering tonight, and a lot of information for Train Sim World, as well as the other announcements we've got in store. But first up, most important question whenever we start a live stream: how are we sounding? Is our audio okay? Levels sounding good? Am I too loud, too quiet? Let us know in the chat. And while you're doing that, we're going to do tonight a little bit differently. So again, let us know how the audio levels are. But I've got a link that I want to share in the chat. And we want to be sharing this throughout the night. But we want our roadmap streams to be that kind of collaborative conversation. I mean, for the most part, everyone here watching has already seen the direct. They've already seen all the news. They've read the roadmap articles twice through already. I'm sure you all have. So what are you really looking for? Well, you're looking for that live interaction with Matt, with myself, or with the FAQs and with the knowledge that we have to support you and your knowledge for Train Sim World 5. And so we've got a link in a chat which will bring you to a question form. So if I post that again, I think we've got some moderators helping us out tonight, so thank you very much. That will lead you to a very basic form, just name, question, and topic. And if you put a question that you have tonight in that form, we'll be able to see it, and we'll try and go through the list. We'll tick them off. What we're going to do is actually tick through. We're going to go through each segment. We're going to talk about Train Sim World, the new routes, the new content. But every time we move from one to the next, we're going to be answering some questions live. So I hope it feels a little bit more collaborative tonight. We're excited to be here. And really, let's kind of get into it. Matt, have you got anything to kind of mention before we dive into some classic admin bits?
I guess the only thing is that just, we've been working on this stuff for so long. It's really, it feels, I was saying this to you earlier, it feels weird now that everyone knows everything. It's kind of like all this stuff was super secret up until, days ago. And now all of a sudden people are talking on the forums and I have to double check. No, they do know that. That's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really good. It's really great. And I've been so pleased with the feedback we've been seeing.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of the community conversation. A lot of us, in terms of the community team, have been monitoring, helping support questions. But what I would say is a lot of the conversation and feedback we've seen has been fantastic. What I'd like to know in the chat as well is, how did you find the Dovetail Direct? We've been working on that for months. I mean, I think the first conversation started back in March. And from our creative teams, from all of the teams involved, community, social, creative, even the external partners we worked with in Blueprint, our marketing teams put so much love into this project, and I think it turned out really well. Matt could be a bit louder, don't worry. I'll touch you up on the volume there.
So just as I think the questions are going really good. Keep the questions coming in. We're already up to 81. So, but we're not going to be answering all of them tonight, because a lot of you are asking questions we can't answer. Like, will you make? Why haven't you made? When are you going to make? These are the usual things that don't get answered on these streams. But there are some really good questions in here as well. So we will try and get to whatever we can as we go through. As Alex said, we can try and answer lots of questions. But yes, we're now up to 99 questions.
Yeah, I'm just watching the question list, and it is filling up really fast. Okay, I think for the moderators who were checking in with us earlier, if there is a way you can kind of pull some of these out into the Word doc, that might be really useful after all. But I mean, that's what we're here for tonight. Now, I do have a long list. You are going to have to bear with me. On my OBS scene, which is our streaming setup, there is maybe 200 images, and they're all in different structures and folders. So we're going to be talking about the roadmap and bits, but bear with me tonight. It might be a bit long. I think we're probably going to be streaming for a couple hours at least. So just an FYI if you're joining us tonight. Let's talk about it. Let's dive in. The Train Sim World 5 roadmap, whether you're new or existing, here we go. So what can you expect? Well, this is our monthly developer update, and we've got a fantastic developer, Matt, the executive producer of Trains, here with us to answer your questions. We're going to be talking about Train Sim World 5 primarily, but we will touch on some of the future announced routes, some of the future announced content in the roadmap articles, and some of the bits in the roadmap. And then we're also going to be touching on a little bit of Train Sim World VR, Train Sim World Roblox, Train Sim World Tycoon on Roblox, sorry, and maybe just mention CTS a bit briefly. All of that was in our Dovetail Direct, which again, if you've not seen, definitely go check out because we put a lot of love into it. But that's it for tonight. We've got tons of images to show you. And actually, I've got a graphic here, our Dovetail Direct overview. So this was our Direct again. You can find it on our channel if you haven't seen it. And on it was it's kind of a mega summary card, which includes all the information for Train Sim World 5 that you should need, just as a quick glance. So again, you can see on there the different editions, the free starter pack, what they include, what bits what features come with it, when it launches on September 17th, all the good bits. And again, we've got some other things that we want to talk about just briefly tonight. We've got the Train Sim World Tycoon Roblox game, which I know a lot of you have been talking a bit about. We'll get there when we get there, just touching it on the end. We've got the Train Sim World VR, TSW VR New York title, which I know, Matt, you're really passionate about, and we'll talk a bit about tonight. And again, we've got the update for CTS, which we'll just briefly mention towards the end. But this is the Train Sim World 5 roadmap live stream, so we're gonna focus on that. Just before we get into it, as kind of tradition, we do like to mention what's happened in the previous months. So I mean, aside from the Direct, there were a few big things that happened recently. You know, we released the Expert 101, the Class 150, and the Class 380, and you've all been enjoying those. We've had a range of different updates. We had the Cathcart remaster back in July 11th. We've had a bunch of core improvements as well on July 23rd. And earlier in August, we had the August 5th update and an August 12th suspension and formation update as well. So just a brief rundown of the past, but now to the future. Let's talk Train Sim World 5. Here we go. So we're going to start with the different bundles you can get. So just to summarize, Train Sim World 5 is the next edition of Train Sim World. So it will be coming September 17th. And if you want to pick up Standard Edition, we're going to be talking about these routes, but you'll get the West Coast Main Line, London to Milton Keynes, the San Bernardino line, and Frankfurt to Fulda, Kinzigtalbahn. If you pick up the Deluxe Edition, you can also add on the Avanti West Coast Pendolino, Class 390 Pendolino, and the FlixTrain BR 193 Vectron, as well as Cajon Pass. And if you like to build your collection, you can add Special Edition, which has a whole load of other add-ons such as Castle Würzburg, London Underground, New York Trenton, London Overground Suffragette Line, and Bahnstrecke Bremen. Now again, I'm sorry for the admin bits, but new this year is the wonderful free starter pack. So I did want to start the stream and just quickly talk about this because we've seen some of the community discussion. And we want to make sure that you understand what this pack intends to do, who it's really intended for, and all the good bits. This is for everyone, all platforms. It's a free way to try out and to get into Train Sim World 5. So, and when we say it's for everyone, it really is. If you're a new player, if you don't own Train Sim World, if you've never owned Train Sim World, you can get it for free. If you claim it within the first 30 days, so October 17th is the limit we've set. If you claim it within that period, you can have it forever. You can have it for the next 5 months, the next year or 3. It's yours. You know, there isn't a time limit to this. Isn't a trial. It's just there is a claim by date, essentially. And again, we talk about it for everyone, even if you've not played Train Sim World. But if you have played Train Sim World, if you are a fan of Train Sim World, if you own previous editions of Train Sim World, this is also for you because it's your way into Train Sim World 5, and it's your chance to bring your collection with you to this new to the new edition of Train Sim World, to Train Sim World 5. And again, the examples we used in Dovetail Direct was, let's say you have the West Somerset Railway route, but you have it in Train Sim World 4. You have it in Train Sim World 3, I suppose. Again, I'm trying to remember exactly the timeline here. But let's say you own Train Sim World 3 and you've got the West Somerset route. If you get this starter pack, you can upgrade to Train Sim World 5 for free and get the remaster which came to Train Sim World 4. So you wouldn't have had that if you were in Train Sim World 3. You can get that remaster and you've not spent a dime. So there you can move into Train Sim World 5. There, of course, are loads of wonderful additions that you can pick up with Train Sim World 5. Valuable bundles. You've got the Starter Pack Deluxe and the Special Edition, which we talked about. There will also be regional packs from launch. You will be able to pick up the Pendolino and the FlixTrain as loco add-ons from launch. They will be available, but of course, this starter pack, you may as well tell all your friends. You may as well say, just pick this up, because then they can try out Train Sim World 5. So I think that's a really good thing to clarify, because I know there's a lot of community conversation now. But the retail teams, all of the teams have been wanting to get something like this out for some time, and we're really glad. I know the community have really wanted this as well, and we're really glad to have brought it to you. But yes, like we say, 30 days, you've got that window to claim it, but it's yours to keep. I feel like I'll be saying that forever, but it is yours to keep. Right, we've talked about the different bundles. Again, I'm going to be going through a big old list of check bits. If you pre-order, you can pre-order on all storefronts at the moment. But if you pre-order the Deluxe or Special Edition, you do get a few extra goodies. This includes a 5-day early access starting from September 12th, which is also the date where we're going to be sharing loads more content from our wonderful ambassadors, but also probably from our own teams as well. So you get that 5-day early access with Deluxe and Special, but you do get some exclusive decal packs as well. And if you check the different stores, make sure to look at our FAQs as well, but you can make the most of up to 10% of pre-order discounts or loyalty discounts. Again, that kind of depends per platform, so please read our FAQs. All of it's in the description, so just hop in there. Right, I'm going to breathe for a bit, but that was a lot of admin. I do apologize, but it's really good to get the news out.
So I just saw actually someone was asking about Game Pass. Don't know if you want to.
Oh yes, of course. It will be available on Game Pass as well from launch. So let me just run through the platforms. September 17th, Train Sim World 5. It's on PC, which is Steam, which is Epic Games. It's on Xbox One. It's on PlayStation 4. It's on PlayStation 5. It's on Xbox Series S and X. And from launch will be on Game Pass as well. Those are all the bundles and additions. I think I've covered it. There's a lot of admin. Again, I know a lot of you here are just here for the yeah, we really do love admin.
Basically, people come for is the admin. The rest is noise.
It's all noise. I'm just checking in the chat. I know there are, how many questions did we get? During that admin, we got a whopping 109 more questions. So I've probably caused catastrophic damage to the length of the stream. But there we go. Let's talk about some good bits. So let me scroll down. TSW 5 core routes and locos. Let's talk about West Coast Main Line, London, Euston to Milton Keynes. I've got a wonderful summary card up here on screen. Matt, why don't you open this up? Why did we choose this route? What's so good about this route?
And as I said on the a lot, I'm going to say as I said on the direct, a lot probably, but this was it was kind of obvious and mandatory. Having done the East Coast Main Line last year, not doing the West Coast Main Line in some form this year felt wrong. And so looked at various options and decided on the Euston to Milton Keynes section because of the wide variety of services that you've got in that section. It's at that length, it's an achievable route as well. And there's still tons to do. There's lots and lots of Pendolino services that stop at Milton Keynes, or indeed other places along the way between London and Milton Keynes. You've got a very busy Class 350 services, but then you've also got the coming in on a layer. You've got the Class 710 over from the Suffragette line, which gets to run the entirety of the Lioness line, which is what used to be called the Watford DC line. And that's between London and Watford in Watford Junction, rightly. I know that. Yeah, so that's the 710, and then you've got the 1972 stop, which is included, and that then allows you to drive from Queen's Park to Harrow and Wealdstone. So yeah, it's just tons to do. It was kind of, we needed to do the West Coast Main Line. It's actually been the #1 requested route for a long time, and it was getting everybody getting up a plan for actually executing that and building it, which the team have done really nicely. So yeah, it's really good fun. Particularly, I've spent quite a lot of time driving the 710 up and down, and I've had to pull myself away from it, which is awesome. I haven't actually had that kind of thing in a while, so it's just like after spending I think I did 3 complete journeys end to end, and I'm just like, I need to get on with some work.
There we go. We brought the summary card back. The slides are a little bit too fast. I will try and slow them down for some of the other ones that we've got. We've got a lot of images to go and show tonight. But if you look at the summary card here, you've got all the goodies. You've got the 50-mile stats. You've got the 28 stations, and there's a big old list there. If it's not super clear on the stream, depending on what quality you're watching at, again, all the roadmap descriptions. All the roadmap links are in the description with these assets, with these wonderful graphics. And can I just say, creative team, just amazing work. I mean, all the stream layouts we've been doing, all these cards made in-house, just fantastic stuff. I love them every year, but this year I just think it's just exceptional. But West Coast Mainline, there we have it. And I think, to be honest, again, we know. Let's go back to the cameras because it's weird just looking to a summary card. We know a lot of you here are here. You've seen the information, you've seen the direct. We will be going through all of the bits and having a bit of a summary for all of them. But we are here for live Q&A. And that's kind of what we're trying to push for a little bit. So with that being said, let's go through the list and let's see if we probably should have done a topic for West Coast Mainline. Let's see if there's any questions regarding West Coast Mainline that we can answer. And again, in the YouTube chat, we'll try and pull some around from the chat directly.
So Deckard has said that what services will the 377 be doing on the West Coast Main Line? So it's modern timetable. So it's the shorter services. I can't remember. Someone did tell me what they were, but yeah, it's not all the way to Milton Keynes. They go to the stop they do these days.
We've got a question here about the 350 and the 390 layers. So we'll talk about the 390 Pendolino in a moment. We probably should have done them both, but we'll talk about both. Will it layer onto Birmingham Cross City? So they won't from launch, not to Birmingham Cross City or to Glossop. They won't from launch. We don't have any plans to add this right now, but we know that it would make the experience of those routes a lot better. So we will look into it, and obviously we'll take player feedback in. But actually, I think today we did confirm, Matt, I believe that Cathcart will have AI for the 350 to 390.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, and that will be from launch. So I believe there was some questions about Birmingham, Glossop and Cathcart, but I think Cathcart should have those. Seeing a lot of questions about multiplayer. There aren't plans to add multiplayer. So I'm just going to come out and say it, that there isn't multiplayer.
Wow, a quarter of the questions gone now in one go.
Yeah, let's get that. Let's get that clear. A lot of people about where is, say, the class 377/7. Well, we've got the 377/2, but I don't believe we've got included the 377/7.
No, we just did the 377/2 because that's what runs the those particular stuff. Remember rightly, the other one is actually a different model, more like the 387. It's another generation of the 377, and I can't remember why we picked the 377/2 now, but yeah, there is reason behind it. Yeah, so that's what we've got in there. That's just the one.
I got a question here. It isn't West Coast Mainline related, but I'll answer it quickly anyway because it helps answer a few. Updates on the Southeastern High-Speed AI bug. So we did have a fix for this, and it was fixed in a lot of places, but it looks like there may be an issue still on the 465,
Yes.
and we'll look into that. If there's any questions regarding bugs or issues raised from Train Simulator 4, we will touch on them very lightly if they come up, but for the most part, we're still looking at them. Don't worry, we're still looking at improvements. They'll come to Train Simulator 5, so when you upgrade and use the free starter pack, you'll be able to get future improvements too. We have sent some recent patches to Train Simulator 4 that help address some of these issues, but we will continue to improve and bring more additions to Train Simulator 5. So,
there is another patch coming for TSW4 which will add the suspension, for example, onto the BR101. I know that one's that's underway at the moment.
Good confirmation there. Right, let's do Pendolino and then let's come back to any other West Coast Mainline and or Pendolino questions. So, speaking of Pendolino, let's go to our summary card. So, the Avanti West Coast Pendolino, the Class 390, probably one of the most requested logos. I say one of. There are a lot of requests for different logos, but this is it. I mean, for me, this is the train that I use whenever I visit the office. I mean, I love this thing. I've seen this thing 100 times. But Matt, what is it about it that makes it so special? And of course, talk about the tilting technology. We had a question on our forums thread that said, how did we make this? How did we make it work? And what challenges there were with it? So 2 for 1 if you could get us an answer.
I mean, the Pendolino is such an iconic thing. As I said there, it's in the 9 and the 11 car versions. as well. But it's just got it redefined transport on the West Coast Main Line when Virgin introduced them, and they've also proven their worth as well. With there was obviously a terrible accident, I think, in Greyrig, and the design of the Pendolino made it to where what could have been a really, really terrible disaster wasn't anywhere near as bad because the structure stayed up. These are exceptional trains. They're beautiful to look at. They're really fun to drive. You've got the big open cab at the front, and they're really comfortable to ride in. But of course, obviously, you've got the tilting technology, as well as one of the questions that you may have thought about, and I've had this asked a few times in the past, is, well, if the train is tilting, how does the pantograph stay on the wire? Surely the pantograph moves with the wire.
I guess that is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and the answer is that the pantograph has a counter tilt. So while the train tilts over, the pantograph tilts in the other direction to maintain connection with the wire, and that's all animated. So you'll find that on this, and later on, when we get to the ICET, you'll find it on there as well. So both of these have got all the counter tilt stuff animated in there as well. And fundamentally, the challenge with the tilt is getting all the animation set up, getting all of the linkages set up for the equipment, and the way the bogie connects to the body and so forth. But this is stuff the team have done before. We've done the Acela as a tilting train and the BR612. So these aren't our first tilting trains, but I think these are the tilting trains everyone wanted. So here we are.
Fantastic. And let's just to answer some of the questions that have come up. Matt, do you know how long a full run of the 390 on West Coast Main Line London Euston from London Euston to Milton Keynes will take roughly?
I actually don't know off the top of my head. I've heard people say in the order of 30 minutes, but call it 30 to 40 minutes.
And as a note, there won't be conductor mode on the 390, so we have got this in our FAQs. Now, we'll talk a little bit about conductor mode, and we'll mention what it is. But for those of you that know, it is our additional game mode, the new game mode that we've introduced for the three core routes with Train Sim World 5. Obviously, we've seen it before on Glossop Line and Long Island Commuter. But it's a new mode that we brought with Train Sim World 5 to the three routes because we've seen the surveys, the data, people love the mode. But in terms of this, we don't have this on the Pendolino or the ICET, partly because when you think about what makes conductor mode the best experience it can be, you will need more stops, you will need kind of like much more passenger stops throughout the run to better make use of the mode. And so at the moment, this is currently on the class 350. It is on the BR 114 for Frankfurt Fulda, and it is on the. My mind's blanking, Matt. Which for San Bernardino? Is it on the?
It's on all the trains and all the coaches, so the Roterms and the Bombardiers.
That's it. There we go. A lot of information overload. But yes, it won't be on the Pendolino or the ICT, but we will look at feedback. We're still taking feedback in for this new mode. So when you get a chance to get your hands on it, give it a play, give it a test. Let us know what your thoughts are. We'll have dedicated feedback threads. And we can look to implement this in the future if we see it fit and if there's demand for it. And there are people in the chat saying that the guard mode would be good for this. So if that's the feedback, then great. Then we can look for that in the future. But from launch, it will just be on the class 350 for West Coast Mainline.
We'll come on to more when we come on to guard mode proper. Then I can give you a bit more insight into that as well. So it's an really interesting mode.
And Luke, will the 390 layer onto Cathcart Circle? So there will actually be a 390 layer. It will be an AI layer onto Cathcart Circle line.
They head down to Portmady, I think, so they stay at AI. You don't get them, but you'll see them running in and out of Glasgow.
I'm just looking at the question list. There was a question about special liveries or nameplates, such as the Pride livery or the City of Carlisle nameplate.
I don't think I've not seen any nameplates, and there's only the one livery, the Avanti.
Okay, and we're still answering some questions, but we will continue through. I mean, we could be answering questions for forever, but that's what we're here to do. We're here to try and answer as many questions, and we probably will fail to answer every single question. I think our list of questions on the Excel sheet is just passing 260, which is a lot. But but we will do our best to answer as much as we can, and whatever we don't answer tonight, we'll always try and pack it. We'll always try and get into future threads. We've still got a few weeks before launch, so we've still got more opportunities to help answer questions, and we've got live streams as well. So if you're looking at the Pendolino on screen, I'm about to change the camera, so there it goes, it's gone. But if you were looking at the Pendolino there and West Coast Mainline, we've got the preview live stream next week. In fact, it's next Thursday, August 29th. I have a live stream overview here. So you will be able to see both of them in action just a week away, which is no time at all. The week after that, we've got San Bernardino line preview as well. And then the week after that, on Wednesday, we've got the Frankfurt Fulda and FlixTrain preview. And that's only on that's on a Wednesday, which is a bit odd because we go into early access for people that pre-ordered Deluxe and Special Edition on September 12th, which is that Thursday. So keep an eye out, but we still need to talk about more things. So let's move over to hide the Pendolino. San Bernardino line. Now, Matt, this is the US offering coming with Train Sim 5, but we know this has been announced for some time previously in the past. But actually, from what you've said, a lot of the beta players who have been getting their hands on San Bernardino line and been playing it have been really saying it's quite a magnificent route to drive. So it'd be great to hear some insight of what you think about the route and some of the highlights that you have when developing it.
Oh yeah, I mean the extended development schedule in this one hasn't been wasted, so there's lots of extra stuff been added to this that was it was good to see. So you've got the two trains, you've got the MP36 and the F125, so you don't need to own Antelope Valley to get the F125 as well. That's in the pack. You've got both types of coaches, the new Bombardiers, which are in two liveries, an older version and the newest and the very latest livery. It's not the oldest livery of the Bombardiers, which is the white one with the blue, the one that looks more like the MP36 there, and then you've obviously got the Rotems, and all of the formations are based on how and Metrolink actually run the trains now. So for safety reasons, they're no longer allowed to put the Bombardier coaches on the outsides of trains. So they've got the new Rotem coaches. It's one of the reasons they invested in the Rotem coaches. So you have a loco, a Rotem coach, a mix of coaches, and then the Rotem cab car. So that's the general format that they use, and you'll see more and more Rotems going in. In fact, in the news recently, they put in an order to just about wipe out the Bombardier coaches completely. But there'll be a nice mix of them in San Bernardino, and it gives some really interesting looking trains, which is it's nice to see. With not just being a train of the same coach, you've got both of them there. The cab car is provided for the Bombardiers, but the Bombardier cab car is no longer used as a cab car. It's all plated and boarded up. And that's how it's presented here. So it is there, and it is plated and boarded up the same way it is in reality, alongside the normal trailer car. So there's lots of really good stuff. Some of these screenshots you can see Cal State is a really interesting station. You've got working elevators in some of the stations, this route is, if you're thinking, well, this is just another version of Antelope Valley, you couldn't be more wrong. Antelope Valley is more a mountain pass type, like a freight route would be. This one is probably more like Caltrain. So this is staying in the city at all times. There's a lot more stops that you've got to do. There's a lot less time between the stops. You've also got the freight, and you can see the BNSF here. There's layering in from Combe Pass. That's one of the reasons Combe Pass is in the deluxe edition, is to benefit from the freight, which fills out the eastern side of the route, San Bernardino heading west. And there's a mixed service mode there, including local runs as well, up and down the San Bernardino line. So there's a decent bit of freight. There's tons of passenger stuff going on, and this is a fun route to drive. Really is very different experience.
Again, we'll get ahead of ourselves a little bit here, but of course, on either end, this connects to both the Cajon Pass route and the Antelope Valley line, which makes a lot of sense when we've introduced the new route hopping mechanics. So you can have this mega Californian journey as you want with that feature as well. But obviously it kind of offers that different experience, which is just exciting. I mean, the screenshots I've seen, we've got some brand new screenshots tonight that I want to show you from our beta teams that haven't been on any roadmaps. They've never been seen before so far. And some of them include the highway running for the MP36 here, which is just fantastic. There is something I want to quickly pause on and run back to because, again, with so much to talk about, I forgot some obvious ones. But the important thing is pre-order. When we think about pre-order, when we think about compatible content, previously, there have been times where you've had to wait for compatible content to kick in, which isn't great on certain platforms. And obviously, there was, I think, with Train Sim World 4, if you had the pre-order version and you were in on the early access, you only had the Train Sim World 4 content. That is not the case this year. So the way it's going to work, if you check out our FAQs, if you are on Steam, if you're a Steam player and you pre-order, let's say Deluxe or Special Edition, you get it on September 12th, you can actually have access to compatible content from the early access. And I believe this may be the case for Epic Games, but check out FAQs to confirm. On consoles, however, you will have that from launch on the 17th. There won't be any waiting, so don't worry about that. But this will be available from launch on consoles. And again, if you're on Steam, and I believe Epic Games, but do check out FAQs in the description that you can get in on your compatible content with the early access. So be sure to pre-order if that interests you, of course. And there was a question, I'm losing it, and yes, here it is. Will you be able to buy the Pendolino independently to the deluxe edition? And again, the question is yes. I answered this a few minutes ago, but I'll say it again. From launch on September 17th, everything will be available to buy individually. There'll be individual routes if you want them. They've previously been known as the regional editions, and there will be the individual deluxe locos. So last year, I believe, if you wanted to say the Scotsman, it kind of came out like a month afterwards. This won't be the same this time. It'll be available from September 17th on launch. So if that interests you, you can pick that up as well. We are still trying to answer questions. There are loads to go through, but I think I've not seen many that relate to just San Bernardino, but there are a few for Frankfurt. So I think if we go through Frankfurt, we go through the FlixTrain, and then we'll try and cover as many questions as we can on the German content that we've got coming with Train Sim World 5. So let's go over to the summary card. Here we go. Frankfurt Fulda Kinzigtalbahn. Apologies for the pronunciation. There have been many comments about how I pronunciate different routes during the direct, but I do try my absolute best. And I had some coaching from Jan as well, which he bared through. But of course, this is another busy mainline route. The ICET, it's another tilting train, includes Frankfurt. And this asset on screen, just a note, some people were saying the station list we had wrong, and I believe we accidentally had a T on the top station at Frankfurt, which kind of implied underground. This is the most accurate, up-to-date one. Thank you for pointing that out. This is a fully accurate graphic that you are looking at the moment. But Matt, Frankfurt Fulda, what are your thoughts?
I mean, this is been a route Lucas has wanted to make for a long time. I mean, he's a local of Frankfurt, always has been. So it's, but then, as he was describing what the route would be, I can see why. Really, it's got everything. It's a longer, more substantial Justin Riese, and Justin Riese is my favourite German route, so I'm all for more. And it gives us the opportunity to bring the ICT, which is a train I've been wanting to get in for a while now. We're also getting the BR114, as well as bringing in the Deutschebahn DB Car or DB Red version of the Vectron, which has got a different cab compared to the Railpool one that was released last year. So it's kind of expanding that Vectron fleet, which is good because it is such it's an important part of the German freight rail on the railways these days. So it's good to see that expanding. But yeah, the ICT is particularly fun to operate, but yeah, you've got lots of variety on this route, lots of different things going on, and lots of different types of gameplay again, which is it's kind of exactly like that, all the strong points of Dresden Riese.
And we've got a couple questions here. So in terms of layers, I think there was a question about, will the BR101 be available in Frankfurt Fulda? The new expert.
So the original 101 will be on, and I believe Lucas is looking at that this weekend about getting the expert one on. But let's tell you news about that one in the Frankfurt stream.
Yes, and that will be in a couple of weeks from now. That will be the one just ahead of the early access beginning. Does the BR423 have a new interior on Frankfurt Fulda?
I don't think so, no. I need to double check that one.
Just looking through some of the questions. I do appreciate all the questions. Again, we do have the link in the, if you want the link to submit a question, it's in the description. It should be question form, I believe. Send us a question here. Keep them coming. We'll do our best to get through as many as we can, but know that we probably won't get through all of them, and we'll do our best to catch up with more throughout the weeks. And again, we do have our preview streams. So today, what you're seeing on screen, all the images cycling through, most of these have been in our roadmap. So I know if you've diligently read through the roadmap articles and you've seen all this, then a lot of this, the imagery at least, isn't necessarily new. But the preview streams are coming up. And we do have a few new things for this roadmap stream as well, which include lovely beta images. I say beta images, sorry. Images from our beta team who have made some absolutely fantastic captures that I just couldn't help myself from including. Okay, and we'll move over to, while some of the questions build up, to the FlixTrain, which is the loco included in the Deluxe edition, or like we've mentioned before, if you want to pick this up individually of Deluxe, you can do that from launch September 17th of Train Sim Mod 5. But the FlixTrain BR 193 Vectron, we've got the new Talbot coaches, so you can have passenger operations. And of course, it's that lovely lime green color, which is a brand new operator for us. I don't think it's not been in TSC before. It's a brand new operator for Dovetail as a whole. So it's always good to grow our kind of collection of different operators and brandings there as well. Matt, what insights have we got for the FlixTrain Vectron?
Again, it's another Vectron, another cab, and again adding to that fleet. So yeah, that's really good. And then you've got brand new coaches, the Talbot coaches as well, in the green. So yeah, it's good. It's really good to get FlixTrain in. They've been a really good partner, and yeah, if this is popular, then maybe we'll look at expanding their FlixTrain fleet further.
We've got some brand new images as well. If you check out the part one of the roadmap, again, all the links are in the description. James Lewis, a wonderful product marketing coordinator, he has created these beautiful GIFs. The image you're looking at on screen at the moment, it has a GIF related to it as well, and it will show you the difference of the three Vectrons. You've got the Railpool Vectron, you've got the DB Vectron, and you've got the FlixTrain Vectron now. It will show you the difference of the cabs side by side, you know, overlaying each other, and you can see that, and it's explained in a copy as well. And it's really nice to see that there are variations within the cabs themselves, and I believe the Railpool Vectron doesn't have the LZB interface. I'm sorry if I've completely messed that. But
what exactly the differences are. I mean, one thing you can see is when you see on this group of shots, you can see on the roof that the FlixTrain roof is a lot simpler than the other two. I think that's because the other two are multi-system, whereas I don't think the FlixTrain is. I can't remember, that might be wrong. But you can see there's visible differences externally, as well as there's quite substantial differences in the cab.
Just corrected by Red Leader. Thank you in the chat. It's the DB one that doesn't have the LZB. So there we are.
Okay.
But yes, you can see that comparison as well. So while we take a peek, we are going to try and take regular breaks to look at questions, to look at ways we can answer the community. But while we do that, why don't I give you a treat of some brand new beta team screenshots that look absolutely wonderful, never seen before in a roadmap article as of right now. Let's have a look through them, shall we? I think there are about 20 images, and I've not named anyone from the beta team specifically. Oh, it's cycling a bit fast. Hold on. Oh, I'll slow that down.
Fast.
Sorry.
That first one was actually, this is the Pendolino on Cathcart Circle.
You may see layers that are that don't come with Train Sim Mod 5, just as a note. Obviously, there is the special edition which comes with different routes and locos, but again, these are all captured within Train Sim Mod 5. They mostly focus on Train Sim Mod 5 content, but do keep that in mind. These were taken from our beta team, and again, I've not credited anyone specifically, but what I'll say is that the team in that Discord who was submitting these images, absolutely fantastic, and thank you for the support, because you also helped us with new images for the roadmap too. I think it's still a little fast. I'll give you more time to look at the images. I think 8 seconds a slide. It's good. But while we do that,
there's some fantastic images there.
Let's have a dive through some of the other questions that are coming up. And again, we are doing our best. Any questions relating to the future announced routes from the Take a Ticket section, we'll talk about when we get close to that, but just note that there won't be much we can answer. Anything kind of beyond Train Sim Mod 5 is is something that we will be better suited to answer closer to the time in future roadmaps when we have more information to give away as well.
The lean on that, I see. That's incredible.
We got a question here that I'll answer about the editor. So how will the PC editor transfer from 4 to 5 work? So what is how is that going to work? So when Train Sim World 5 launches, there will be an editor available, and for Train Sim World 5, and the Train Sim World 4 editor will still remain. Of course, you can still own Train Sim World 4 and 5 independently. So both editor versions will remain. You can obviously open up both. They are available through the Epic Games Store. But if you wanted to transfer, any files, that will be a bit of a manual process. There's no automatic button to kind of update, or it won't pull from your files automatically. So that will be a manual process. But there will be 2 versions of the editor from launch. And we do have a set of improvements coming for the PC editor as well. I don't believe we've confirmed a time of when we're going to get that to you, but that will include some of the key improvements we've been working on for quite some time now that we want to get to you, which includes a fixing to cooking as well. I do apologize, my cat is also meowing in the background, so if you've noticed that, there may be a faint meow. I believe she's a bit hungry. Yeah, absolutely stunning images cycling in the background. How about for I'm gonna hide this scene. I'm gonna open up this one. Now I forgot the name of who submitted this, but this is essentially again, Matt, you might be able to confirm what we're looking at here. But this is, I believe it was a 15,000 pixel by 7,000 pixel size image. It was 70 megabytes big for one single photo. And
yeah, I think this might have been Danny.
That sounds right. I do remember Danny, I think, on the name. I'm doing my best. I'm manually moving this in the scene, so apologies if it's a bit jittery, but it is a huge file that doesn't fit on most screens. So Danny, absolutely wonderful photo. But as you can see here, you know, we've got the Avanti West Coast, Pendolino coming up on the side. People talking about the cat. Absolutely fantastic. It's just a glorious photo.
Really good, yeah.
It might be nice to put if we can upload this somewhere, but again, it is 70 megabytes. I'll see if we can share it in community spaces after the roadmap. But really just super wide kind of angle. And yeah, you've got the zoomer on the right there. Fantastic. Again, I thought it's worth sharing. And one other thing that I don't remember, again, apologies for the beta team. I would have written down the names, but I was trying to grab these all last minute. We've got a comparison here for the F125 on the San Bernardino line with a real life photo. And it's pretty accurate, in my opinion. I think that's absolutely amazing. I actually have this a little bit too big, I believe. Is this the right scale? No, it's not. There we go. That way you can kind of see the clock on the right. But absolutely fantastic. And again, just another testament to the team and the hard work that they put into obviously recreate the locomotives and the stations as well. But I thought it was worth showing because, again, I think it's just a fantastic way to really see it in context.
Yeah, I like that shot. I like that shot a lot.
Right, so while we do that, I am going to take a look at where we're up to. So we're probably now at the end of the core routes and locos. While I wrap up, some things to just mention again is if you pre-order Deluxe Edition, you will also get Cajon Pass. So if you haven't owned Train Sim World 3, that was one of the kind of core routes bundled in with Train Sim World 3. But if you joined us for Train Sim World 4, or if you've yet to join us, you'll be able to get Cajon Pass, which we've talked about route hopping with San Bernardino. And another thing, which I thought I'd just mention in here that was on the roadmap, is we've secured an Airbus license for some of the planes that you'll see in some of the screenshots. In fact, I think they've been in a couple screenshots that we've shown so far. But these are officially licensed, which is just a nice little addition that is always worth mentioning.
Yeah, no, it's good to get those in. The fictional fake aircraft has been the subject of much memery. Because of the way that it's been made. It was specifically designed to not look like anything else, because you don't want to, if you're running the designs of the aircraft are licensed, and you don't want someone to accidentally make a plane that looks like a real one. So we made something that didn't look like a real one, and that of course meant it probably wouldn't have flown in reality. So it's really good to get Airbus on board as a partner. They really like what we've done, which is why they're in the Airbus license brand. That was what they'd asked for. So we potentially look at expanding the fleet of aircraft and looking to see what else we can do with them. But you'll find them quite an advanced system actually for managing. So you'll see them banking around corners, and I think in some cases even lowering their gear to land in runways and so forth at airports. So it's quite a nice system, and you'll find, I think in one case one of the beta testers shared a screenshot. And if you counted all of the admittedly dots in the sky, there were 12 aircraft on screen.
Wow.
I
mean, that is awesome. I've seen some people asking about where you will find them as well. So I believe Frankfurt Fulda, you can see them. You can see them in the skies of the San Bernardino line, and they'll be following the LAX patterns. And in the Great Western Express remaster, they'll be following the Heathrow patterns. So it's really awesome. Speaking of the Great Western Express, we'll come to that a little bit later. And if you are excited about the Great Western Express, well, obviously that has been the the passion project for Liam. Well, Liam has provided me with even more images to show on the roadmap today that weren't in the roadmap articles. So we've got even more goodies that we can talk about. If you've been a part of the Discord community, you may have seen some of these. He had like a set of Discord exclusives. How cheeky, how naughty. It's okay. We were working with him this whole time. We are now going to move over to some of the new features. So if you caught the part 2 of the roadmap, we started talking about these more in depth. But there are, of course, there are new features with Train Sim World 5, and we want to go over some of them today. And we have some of the wonderful GIF images here. So this was the, if you watched the direct, this was kind of our key image, but it's a bit misleading because there aren't just 4 things. It's not just those 4 on screen. There are loads of new changes. So if we look at Conductor Mode, now, I would have loved to have saw some of our B-roll and gameplay footage, but the OBS scene was screaming at me, and I didn't really have time to add them in. That's the real reason. But these were the GIFs we showed on the roadmap article, and you will be able to see these all live in action during our previews starting next week. So we will show these, all of the key features in action. But Conductor Mode, this is your chance to kind of change up the way you play Train Sim World. You're going to be a conductor. You're going to use the door controls. You're going to shift luggage out the way of the aisles. You're going to check tickets. Really awesome, and we have seen so much great feedback. We've done surveys to a lot of our dedicated players, and we've seen Conductor Mode be the #1 requested feature that you want to see back. So here it is, back in Train Sim World 5 on all of the core routes. And again, this will be on the Class 350 for West Coast Main Line, the BR 114 for Frankfurt Fulda, and then all of the coaches for San Bernardino. Matt, what are your thoughts?
Really interesting things. So one of the interesting things of Conductor Mode is that it's different how you do it on the different routes in different territories. Fundamentally, the job is the same, but the processes, the order, the way things work are different. So, for example, on the UK route here, you're going to unlock this panel. You'll open the doors, close the doors. You'll then, once the doors are closed, and you can open the local door so that you can watch the other doors close, make sure that they're okay. Then step back in, close the local door, buzz the driver twice, and then the driver will get going on to the next destination. When you move over to America, the process is slightly different in that you don't, you can, there's no, the way that you lock the doors, they all shut, and then you press open local again, you'll step out and check everything is okay, reclose your doors, and then you radio the engineer and tell them that it's all good to go. And there is a little bit of dialogue there in the thing. There's a few different bits of dialogue that can come up. And then in Germany, when the driver opens the doors, you then put a key in and lock out your door so the driver can't shut your door. You'll then step out, watch everything going on, and when at the right time, you'll then blow your whistle by pressing the space bar, which will then allow the engineer will then respond by closing the doors, and then you'll get in once you're satisfied everything is okay, and then you'll be then you can release the lock on your door, which then lets it close, and then the driver carries on. So this is one of the things that's been a challenge, and why it's not just easy to add on to everything, because you need to think about the different processes that are in there, how that's going to work. Has it got all the right controls in the train, and how you can do that? So it's yeah, it's really it's a really interesting thing to do. And of course, once you're going, then you've got the tickets to check. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, I've had several runs up and down the route now where I've just literally been doing the guard mode, and sometimes you get everything done really quickly, and you can just go and sit with the driver in the front or sit in the back cab or something like that. But sometimes, you know, when it's busy, you're struggling to get everything done before, you know, I'm literally checking the last few tickets from people that gone to the last station as we're pulling into the next station. And, you know, the score for correctly finding, you know, for checking a ticket and it's good, the score for correctly identifying someone who's got the wrong ticket, and there's a penalty if you get any of those things wrong. So if you claim someone's got the wrong ticket and they haven't, then there's a bigger penalty. So it is point to check what you're doing. And then you've also got a penalty if someone gets on the train with an invalid ticket and then gets off again, and you didn't check them. So you want to try and keep up with it as well. So very fun, really interesting, and it's, you know, just the different experiences make it quite fresh.
And I mean, again, we're really looking for your feedback on the mode. I've seen some questions, so I'll try and answer one. I believe there was a question about will this be on a FlixTrain. So again, check our TSW 5 FAQs. You can find out all the specifics for especially a lot of these core features we're going over. But you'll see there that on the San Bernardino line is for the F125, the MP36, the road and bi-level cab cars. For West Coast mainline, it's for the Class 350, and for Frankfurt Fulda, it will be the BR114, the BR146, and the 766.2. So not the FlixTrain, but it will be something we will continue to look at as a post-release improvement if that is the feedback we're seeing. But of course, we want to get players involved. We want to get players trying it out, and we'll go from there based on what the community let us know and how you let us know how you find the mode essentially. So. I'm really looking forward to seeing players try it out in a different way. And of course, it will also be included, not from launch, but when the Great Western Express remaster comes, it will be included on that for the HST MK3s. And I believe it was the class 146. I may have that wrong. 166, sorry, apologies on the confusion there. But yes, so it will be coming for the Great Western Express remaster, which we'll talk about shortly as well. Right, going back to our feature list. Here we are. So that was Conductor Mode. We have, I won't talk about route hopping yet, but we do have an update to the live map. So this is a bit of a short GIF, but there is a lot more to the live map than just kind of hovering over a train. There is a whole suite of improvements to make this a much better experience than what you're used to when using the live map. So we've branded it Live Map 2, and it really is a complete overhaul. You've got a new legend chart at the bottom of your screen that really help identify a lot more of the things you're looking at. Again, the GIF we've got playing here is a bit short, but you can hover over any train and any service and find out all the details, the name, the speed, where it's going. You will also be able to identify different elements of the map. So where is a fast travel point? Where is a tutorial? Where is the next bit of gameplay? And you can really use it to find your next bit of gameplay or your next bit of interest that you want to explore, especially when you combine that with fast travel, which we'll talk about shortly. But Matt, one of the best things you've talked about is basically just opening up the live map, finding something interesting, and just saying, you know what, I want to be there, and just going there immediately.
Yeah, fast travel is really good for that, using the map. In fact, that's the new icon for it there, the little target indicator towards the bottom middle right there. But no, the 2D map adds a number of quite important things. So the tooltips are really useful. You get them on trains, you get them on signals. You've got the labels now on the markers, so you can actually see where you are. So it's, you know, it's always nice. And there's just been some general cleanups, tidy ups, and improvements in a number of different areas. Signals have got rendering now, which makes it clear what direction they're facing. And previously, it wasn't obvious which direction a signal was facing in. Now you can very clearly see that. And if you zoom in, it becomes even clearer as a different set of icons get shown. And they're different icons depending on whether it's a British, German, or US route as well. They've got slightly different icons. But one of my favorite things in there actually on the 2D map is, so if you've arrived at Euston station, and you can see there are 10 trains sitting in there where you know, doing their thing, and what you want to do is really find out what's the next one for me? Which I want to fancy driving another train out, and there really isn't any way of doing that until now. What you can do is go into the map view and hover over each of the trains, and you get a tooltip. And if it is a not active service, but it is about to become an active service, it will tell you when its next service starts and what it will be doing. So you can hover over each one and go, that one starts in 5 minutes. All right, let's run over there and grab that one. So you can see now what's going on in the different trains. If something's an active train, then it tells you what it's doing, obviously. But being able to see what inactive trains will be doing at some point, what their next thing to do is actually really, really useful. That's leveled things up quite nicely.
And it just adds to trying to make I think you'll see from a lot of the feature changes that have been a focus, it makes the immersion feel better, it makes the experience feel better, it makes the kind of quality of life and the way you use it and the accessibility, all of that just makes the feeling of using the live map, of using the features within the game a lot better. Speaking of which, so if we were talking about the live map, let's talk a little bit about fast travel, because it's a kind of utilizing a live map here. So this is your way of getting around the map. You can't just jump anywhere you want at any point in time, but you can jump to a bunch of preset kind of little spots along the routes. And the way you do this is basically just by whacking open the new live map and finding one of the fast travel points. They have a small little target symbol. The skiff probably, it's a bit fast for you to identify it there. But you select it, a little box comes up saying, do you want to travel there? You press yes. A loading screen will appear and you will be there immediately. So helps you get around the map a lot better. And if you, let's say you are a collectible hunter, you can do that to a much easier degree if you know what you're looking for, if you just want to have a snoop around the different stations as well. And again, all in the mind of accessibility and being able to enjoy the game the way everyone likes it and have the freedom to move as you like.
So you've also got a keyboard control for this. So we actually did this initially as a debug tool until the 2D map was matured enough to add the controls to it. So you can obviously click on the location in the 2D map, or if you press Shift F, which I believe is also remappable, then you can call up a menu on screen and use fully keyboard controls to be able to map as well. Because again, we had feedback from people that don't like using, or can't find, it's not comfortable using joysticks or mice to do anything, any kind of precision. They just want to use button presses to do things, and that fully works with that system as well. So you can use that, and that also works with the I can't remember what it is, but there's a controller combination which will pop up the list as well, and then you can use the D-pad to move around it. So that's really nice. I do want to give you all a little bit of a pro tip though, that I discovered that it wasn't an intended thing. And I know it's something that you, me, everybody wants to have in the game, but it actually is quite usable now. Is if I wanted to release a train to where, so you can take something else and maybe it becomes an AI train, and you want to do that proactively rather than wait for 2 minutes / however long it takes. Yeah. I don't know if everyone's like me, that 2 minutes when I'm waiting to release a train feels like 25 minutes or 3 hours. So what you can do with the fast travel feature, if you are in the process, if you are currently in the controls of a train, even though and then you press the stand up key and you get off the train, if you then press the fast travel and pick somewhere, the first thing it does is, do you want to release control of this train? And if you click yes, it will then say, do you want to teleport to this new location? Click no, which means you can release control of the train and stay exactly where you are. So that's really cool. That works really nicely. It was a little bit of an unexpected side effect, bordering on bug, but let's not fix that one, eh?
It's a good bug.
Yeah, in lieu of actually a proper feature to do that, this means you can now proactively release trains at your leisure, which is really cool.
And that's fast travel. Again, if I know explaining it's one thing, seeing it properly in action is another. Seeing a small GIF of it is probably not the best experience, but previews begin next week. So we'll be showing Train Sim World 5, lifting the hood up, showing you all the cool features, showing you all the new ways of using it, as well as the routes and the contents each week. So the first preview is just next week. We're 7 days away, August 29th on this channel at this time. So be sure to look for that. I want to talk about route hopping, and then we'll take a little bit of a break from going through some of the features, and we'll dive through some of the questions that have come up. We'll go back to features and we'll keep going. Again, appreciate it. It's a bit of a long night, but we are trying to get through all the questions. We'll do our best. Probably won't get through all of them. And I am seeing various spam questions coming up in chat. So again, please don't feel like you need to spam. Send a question on our thread link. Our mods are kind of divvying them up, and they're telling us which ones to answer first. But route hopping, here we are. So this is your way of kind of jumping from one route to another at a shared link. So the example on screen, I was going to say the example on screen, I believe it's from Antelope Valley to San Bernardino. I am afraid of being wrong, but I believe that is correct. But essentially, if you have two routes, if you own two routes in Train Sim World that have a shared station, again, San Bernardino is fantastic because it shares stations with San Bernardino Station and the Los Angeles Station with both Cajon Pass and Antelope Valley at either end. You can visit that shared station on, say, Cajon Pass. You will find a route hopping marker and you can jump to San Bernardino line. Same with San Bernardino. You can go to the San Bernardino station, you can find that special marker, and you can jump to Antelope Valley line. This isn't really the same as route merging, which a lot of people have been talking about. It is, you will go through the menu. It's essentially a way of just reducing the amount of steps needed, the amount of things in the way of you playing more of the game, immersed in the game. It's a quick way of you just saying, I want to continue at this time, at this weather. It will keep those things the same. If it's sunny, it will stay sunny. If it's raining, it will stay raining. It's a quick loading screen and you're back in the action. But it's meant to preserve that feeling that, you know, you've arrived somewhere and the journey continues. Matt, route hopping. I mean, obviously this is one of the major features we've introduced for Train Sim World 5.
Yeah, route hopping is really cool from an immersion perspective. I've seen a couple of people saying, does this mean we're one step closer to route merging? And it really doesn't. All you're literally doing is just loading a different route, but you're at the same location, so it's a shortcut. But what it means is that you could drive for example, if I drive on Southeastern High Speed from Faversham to St Pancras, all of the London terminus stations have got route hopping links between each other. So you could go then from St Pancras and you'll pop up that menu and then it will say you can go to London Euston. All right, so let's go to London Euston on the West Coast Main Line. And then it will load that route up and you'll appear in London Euston. You can then maybe drive a train up to Harrow and Wealdstone, drive up the 350 to Harrow and Wealdstone. And then perhaps you get on a Bakerloo line train, drive it back to Queen's Park. And then you route hop to the Bakerloo line. And then you'll get on the 72 stop train and you'll drive that one to Paddington Underground Station. And then you'll route hop to Great Western Express and you'll arrive at Paddington. And finally, you'll take your journey to Reading. You know, so you can see how you can link stuff together and you can sort of work your way round and do a bit of route tourism, if you like. The linkages are also they're all across stations that are absolutely the same station. So Hagen between Rosyth Nord and Wuppertal is one example. But then you've got other stations which are not quite the same station. So like I said, the London terminus stations are all linked together. Also, the two Glasgow stations are linked together. Obviously, Edinburgh is linked together across the two Edinburgh routes. So there's lots of possibilities. Now, I haven't linked together, for example, Wigglesfield and Lewis because that doesn't really make sense. They've got to be, close enough together. But that still works out that an awful lot of routes have got the route hopping feature built into them. And yeah, merging would be ideal. Merging is technically unlikely, to be honest, is what we're finding when we're looking into it due to a number of long-term technical constraints. This was sort of like the how can we promote players being able to just stay immersed in the world they're doing and just travel from route to route. So give it a try. Let us know what you think. We're still keen to look at route merging at some point, but we don't have a roadmap for it at the moment. We're not sure how we'd solve that problem at this point. So we thought this would be a really cool thing to add.
I've got a question, Matt. I think that someone's asked here with to do with specifically route hopping. So they've said, if I change from Frankfurt Fulda to Castle Würzburg in Fulda, will the train they will the trains still be at the station, or will they need to get a new train? Will they need to spawn a new one in, or will they need to find a new one? Will that exact one they took them
You're
there?
spawning as if it was a spawn on foot at that location. So because the timetables don't match, if your train was to come with you, there might be an existing train already there at that point in time, and there'd be nothing for your train to do. So you'd have to then, it'd be like using free roam. So it doesn't really work. So when you arrive at the new thing, your train won't be there. It'll be whatever is there at that moment in time when you arrive at the on the new route.
Yes, I believe as well, if you go through, depending on when you go through the route hopping menu, there might be a chance you actually spawn in some of the cabs. It depends what you select. But I believe we've seen some of that on the footage. There were a few other questions. These are no longer route hopping related, so I'll try and answer a few various questions we've seen popped up about some of the features and about some of the things in general. First one, will Train Sim Mod 5 be available to play on Steam Deck? I don't believe it's officially supported, and I'm not sure if anyone has tried with Train Sim Mod 4, but it isn't something we have officially supported.
Train Sim Mod 4 runs really well on the Steam Deck. It's not down as a gold tick certified green or green tick, whatever it is, the full thing, because there are 2 or 3 minor areas it doesn't meet the requirements. Things like auto popping up a keyboard and things like that. And TSW 5 will have exactly the same level of support. I mean, it hasn't been submitted through their certification process yet. It probably won't be submitted until just after release, but it'll be there, it'll work. The difference is whether or not it's got a tick on it or not, essentially. I hear from lots of people that play it. I've played it myself on Steam Deck, and it works well. It might need a little bit of tuning to get it running the best. And again, that's one of the reasons it's not got the full badge of honor. No, it works great. Go for it.
So will it work? Yes, it will. Yeah, but does it have all the lovely ticks? Maybe not, but it should work. Will Xbox audio be fixed in Train Sim Mod 5? Well, actually, if you read the first part of our, sorry, I stand mistaken, the second part of our roadmap, we do have a bit where we talk about Xbox audio improvements, and obviously for Xbox consoles there is improved audio compression to reduce the artifacting that was affecting some people on this as well. Again, Matt, I don't know if you want to add anything specifically on that.
It was, well, again, we're only able to actually make this fix because we're deploying it as a new game. Otherwise, it would have been, we probably wouldn't have been able to do it because it's needed to rebuild every bit of audio in the game to fix that. No, the compression levels have been adjusted, dialed back considerably. Everything has been regenerated, so you should be seeing high quality audio now on the Xbox.
Fantastic. We've got a couple of questions, but then I want to dive more into that because there is a lot of community conversation that we want to talk to. We want to talk to you about and be honest, forthcoming with. But first, what is a decal pack? Well, a decal pack is essentially when you pre-order, again, I think when you pre-order Deluxe Edition, you get 1 decal pack. When you pre-order Special Edition, you get 2 decal packs. They're basically a bunch of stickers, images, designs that you can use in the livery designer. So if you've used that before, you can use it to custom make any train you want, any design you like. I've had a lot of fun making How to Train Your Dragon liveries that get taken down from YouTube because of licensing reasons. But you get a bunch of decals that make that experience a lot better. I believe we have a graphic which shows all of them. It might be either out on our social channels already or coming soon, but you'll be able to see what decals are included in those packs. It might even be available on the store pages, but essentially it's a pack of stickers to use in Livery Designer. And
yeah, there's 3 packs. There's one that everybody gets essentially a part of TSW5, and then there's the 2 pre-order packs.
Good clarification. Fast travel, will it be exclusive to Train Sim Mod 5 routes? And no, it won't, because the existing spawn point locations on back catalog content will work as fast travel points. So, Matt, if I've got this right, the way live map, the way you've made the live map 2.0 is effectively so it's somewhat generative, as in it automatically builds itself. Am I on the right path?
The 2D map has always been dynamically made based on the data that's in there. So the track plan is it's not like there's an image saved somewhere. It's done based on the track plan that's creating out the data files. And similarly, we've got various points and so forth around the route. So the 2D map has always worked like that and continues to do so. And There have always been spawn on foot locations, and fast travel works with the spawn on foot location. So there's no new data points needed. All the routes have all of the data points needed. And so if, for example, you just took the free update, then you'd benefit from the new live map and you'd benefit from fast travel working on all of the content.
They have it. And there was a question about route hopping to Glasgow and Glasgow Central. Route hopping, FAQs, I promise, our Train Sim 15 FAQs were made with love from Chris Medlock, with a lot of support from the teams. But I would check them out. There's a link in the description and you will find full detailed breakdowns of pricing, of route hopping from one route to another, of conductor mode. All of the information is on there, but I would recommend checking it out, especially the route hopping section. You can jump straight to it from the top and you'll be able to see.
But yes, Glasgow to Glasgow does work. The two different Glasgows.
And you got the instant confirmation as well. Right, let's go through some more of the features, because we don't just stop there with the features. So we've covered those two. Photo mode. So have I got this on a manual timer? Here we go. Photo mode changes. This is something that I am very excited for. And I think my GIF goes a little bit black at the end there. But the improvements here have been fantastic. So you've got changing the weather immediately. I love this GIF. I hate that this version of the GIF, because it's the wider form, has a little black cut at the end. But you can change the weather instantly, and as you can see here, from sun to fog to snow to rain to lightning. You know, if you've wanted to capture, if you wanted to get involved with our screenshot competitions, and one of them said capture a lightning bolt, for example, well, you can kind of cheat and you can kind of do that. But don't worry, because if you continue back, if you come out of photo mode, it just goes back to the weather it should be. So it's purely cosmetic, but it gives you that flexibility to take just the coolest screenshot of whatever you want. And that's not even all. In photo mode as well, aside from new motion blur filters, there's also new graininess sliders as well to kind of crunch out some of your images that you take. There's a sepia filter as well to make them feel really old and timely. But there's also an advancing time. You have the power to control time. And as you can see here, if you take a quick note on the mouse and the button in the bottom right, every time that is pressed in and out, the train will just shunt forward a little bit. So Jamie was capturing this for me. And he was just clicking a few times here in a row, but the train won't shift a whole bunch. It will shift just one or two nudges forward every time you click the button. So if it's just not in that right position, you can get it there. Which again just goes that extra distance to just make the way you want to take your photos just perfect every time. And as a final note, this isn't the best of GIFs. Again, I apologize here. We're just flying through the window, but there is a no clip mode as well. So you can just kind of take the camera through the interior of the train. You can fly it where you want. Essentially, I believe it might be still bound to a certain particular range. But you can just fly through the cab, and there you go. It might help taking those internal shots. But photo mode, I think it's just fantastic.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of great shots from Beta using the in-cab. Some of the ones you showed earlier were really awesome with that as well. So yeah, the collision has just gone from the train, but it means you can get really up close to the train and take the pictures that you want to take. The collision is still there on things like world scenery. We did look at what we could do to change that, but that was going to mean quite extensive changes to every route to support that, which would mean whereas everything you're seeing on photo mode at the moment is fully backwards compatible with every piece of content. And then I guess the one thing I didn't see in there as a demo is the new motion blur feature as well.
No, I didn't have a GIF for that.
No, so because the world is paused when you're in photo mode, there is no motion to blur essentially. And so what happens is that when you tick the motion blur option, it will apply a sort of a fake motion blur based on what the train is doing. It looks really effective as well. The trick there you'll find out is that you must be driving a train for the motion blur effect to be available. So if you're walking around and then you hit the photo mode option, you'll find the motion blur option is not available. And that's because it needs you to be driving a train to know how to handle some of the stuff that's going on. But obviously the rest of photo mode works fine.
There we have. I mean, I know a lot of people get excited about photo mode. And also for those of you that do get involved in our screenshot competitions and want to be involved in our loading screens as well, of course, this is going to shake up the scene because now you've got even more tools to get involved. And I think that motion blur filter, I believe one of the Great Western Express remastered pictures we have coming up uses that, and it uses it brilliantly. So that should be coming up. So hopefully we've got a little bit of a preview for that. But photo mode, I'm hoping during the previews you better be taking a chance to stop, show off the new photo mode filters, and get your camera skills to work, Matt, because I can't wait to see it.
You know what was really funny is, as you said, get your camera skills to work there. Your camera refocused. The timing was just on point.
It's all going together. Right, we still got more features to talk about. So this is one that's just fantastic for accessibility. And Matt, I know you're a massive advocate for making the game as the most accessible for as many people as possible. So why don't you talk about what we're seeing here?
This is a really, really straightforward feature, but it means it's so important. And I must admit, I've become so much of a fan of it as I've been using it. It's become second nature now. It just makes life so much easier. So lots of trains have got these screens, and in fact, the 350 is a really good example. It's not this one, but the 350, because it's actually really difficult to see the screen because of the way it's been built into the train. But with this, what you do is you click on the screen, or you press A on the screen, and it will bump it straight to maximum, so you can see it and the buttons around it. It will also cancel out the wobble of the train moving around, which is obviously even worse now with suspension. So you're not fighting with the world moving while you're trying to press something that used to be really small. Where it's a lot bigger, it's a lot easier to access, and it's not moving around anymore. Additionally, you can also move the cursor key when it's in that mode. You can move the cursor keys, I think, with WASD or with your D-pad to move it by bits. If you find difficult with joysticks or with mice, then you can use it with the keyboard now as well. So it's stepped it up a lot. I find it so much quicker to just click on it, do what I want, right click to come out of it, and then get on with what I'm doing again. Absolutely brilliant. It's really been a big game changer for these screens.
We've got a quick question. I think it might be worth clarifying on. Then it says apparently on our FAQs it may list that the starter pack doesn't include this feature, but it should work on compatible content. So
the reason for that is when we originally were looking at this feature, it was looking like it was going to require additional cameras to be authored in all of the content to be the camera that appeared when you did the click on it. When the engineer came to work on it, and this was relatively late in the cycle, when he came to work on it, he actually came up with a way for it to automatically place a camera where he wanted to be, which means that it works with the entire back catalogue.
There you go. We might need to update our FAQs on that, but it should hopefully work with everything then. So if you do have the free starter pack, then there's no reason why it wouldn't work. So we'll make sure we can confirm that. But if so, and as Matt says, we will update any FAQs that needed. Right, let's continue. We've still got so many features and things to talk about. I mean, I've got a new thing I want to talk about at the end as well that we've not talked about yet at all anywhere. But we've got to keep going. So digital screens, again, a really fantastic feature to help, and it will reduce the screen wobble, as Matt says, while you're looking at the screens, which is just brilliant. Now, something that we didn't talk about on the Dovetail Direct, so if you haven't read our roadmap articles, maybe this is some new news for you. Track shadow rendering improvements. The draw distance has been increased for the tracks. So it's important we clarify that. There are other shadows you might find for different various objects around the environment. The tracks themselves, though, have had this improvement, so not necessarily every object. But obviously, this is still really important because the tracks are something that you're looking at as you drive. They're right in front of you. And I mean, this before and after GIF does just kind of show it pretty much working in its full glory. But Matt, is there anything else you want to add here?
No, well, yes. What am I saying no for? Yes, there are a couple of things. Firstly, what you're seeing here is it being toggled off and on. So you can see it off, and then you can see the difference with when it's on. Obviously, in the game, it's just always on. This is only on a set of routes because it has to be authored into the route to do it. Every track has got its own set of materials and texturing. Every route has its own set of materials and textures. So we have to go in and update that to make it in there. This is time dependent. You'll see the shadows, change according to the sun position and everything else. However, it's not, as you said earlier on, it's not something that can be applied to things that are not the track, essentially, because of this is a specific. And literally, what it's doing is it's trying to work out where the shadow should be mathematically, and then painting it on the ground. So it's not actually a shadow; it's painted on the ground to look like a shadow. And does a really, really good job of it. Why not just use a shadow? Because that difference in that shadow effect that you're seeing between these two here, you probably half the frame rate. Whereas with the new system we've got here, 0 impact on the frame rate. So it's a massive improvement for no real cost to your frame rate. and it gets rid of one of those lines that you follow indefinitely as you're driving along, and quite an important one.
Yeah, and I mean, I know we've seen this from some of the previous streams that I've been on as well. It's been a very keen community suggested feature that we look to improve, and here it is improved. So it will be on a selection of routes. Again, you can confirm that full list in the wonderful extensive FAQ list, but we will also look at opportunities to review that list and improve it on other routes where that makes sense and where we see opportunities to do so. There was a question I want to get to in the chat, which talks about the free starter pack. And I want to clarify it again. So I guess the question is, why did we decide to limit some of the features of the free starter pack? Well, I think the better way of looking at this question is more the other way around. And it's, well, you've got a free starter pack that just has Training Center. If you are a TSW player, that, or let's take a better case scenario. If you've never played Train Sim 1 before, you're a new player, maybe someone gave you a nudge and said, hey, get Train Sim 5, it's free, you know, you can keep it. So you get it. And it comes with Training Center, and it's got a bunch of logos in Training Center. Brilliant. But it just has Training Center, and you don't have any back catalog content yet. Maybe you will look to get some, or maybe you won't. But then you don't obviously have some of the features that come with owning routes. So the ones looking at the FAQs, you've got scenarios and timetables. You don't get those with Training Center. Mastery challenges can be route dependent. Route hopping is very route dependent, and we've mentioned that digital display screens probably should be a tick there because it works on compatible content, but also timetable layer controls, again, that ties to the timetables, which you won't have because you'll just have Training Center, and that's the full list. So it's limited because it makes sense in a sense that we spent time to implement route hopping, but obviously if you just pick up the free starter pack, you don't have routes. So it can be something you look to obviously add on to your collection with, but it's more of a technical clarification to make sure that we're not misleading anyone if they pick up the pack. So
yeah, so some content, some features are authored in the content as well as in the core, and some features are only in the core. So if it's only in the core, then it's across everything. If it required content to be authored, then it's something that that you'll need that content to make it work. Like Conductor Mode, there was a ton of work done in the core to make that work, but it has to then be actually set up and configured on each route and each train that it wants to be on. So if you don't have one of those routes and trains, you won't have Conductor Mode.
I guess it's a good question as well to answer while we're on starter pack. Is that a way to be able to access the editor for free?
Yeah, you should access the editor with that. You know, I mean, you'll only be able to access Training Center, but be able to use that. You can use the stuff in Training Center to make a route, or make a scenario for Training Center.
There you go.
So yeah, but in theory, that'll give you what you need to use the editor.
And if you did make a scenario for Training Center, we'd have to update our FAQs again. But thank you for the question, Nico. And again, we do appreciate loads of questions coming through. Let's finish up with some of the Train Sim 5 features because we're still not done. This is a new bit, and I believe we're not showing everything when I talk about this, but of course, Train Sim 5 comes with a new UI, it comes with new menus, comes with a new logo. You'll notice some of these as we show them on previews in the coming weeks. So I think they look fantastic. It also comes with the new main menu music, which if you haven't heard is on our channel and sounds just phenomenal. Made by Ben Simmons, absolutely wonderful soundtrack. But, of course, we're talking about the new UI, and in the new UI is loads of new cool things. And one of those brilliant cool things is train operations. And I believe this also extends out to tutorials as well. But basically, within the menus, you will find all new tutorial guides, whether that's text, whether that's videos, GIFs, images, anything you can find it directly in the main menu or in the pause menu mid-session to get support while you're driving the trains and guides on what you're driving as well. Now, Matt, how much justice did I give it? There's much more to this.
And that's pretty much fair. I think there's a bunch of stuff in there. I see this growing. Consider it more like a train encyclopedia, and it's kind of like, what would you like us to add? What do you want to add more? What should we add more detail to? Like there's stuff in here that talks about PZB, but it's only a broad overview. It's not a detailed tutorial. What I would envisage, or what the hope of some of the more detailed topics in there is really to give you enough information and keywords to help you go and find the answers elsewhere, to get into more detail and to know what you're looking for, what it means, and basically how it operates. But that if you want lots of detail on PZB, then there's some YouTube videos that can teach you it as well. But at least with the knowledge that you get from what's in here, then you'll know what you're looking for now, as well, and have a lot more insight when you actually go or when you go and ask a question, you have some more to talk about. So there's a range of topics in there. So if you want to see other topics in the training center in future, then let us know what you'd like to see in there. If you see anything that you think is wrong, definitely let us know. But this also contains all of the in-game tutorials in Training Centre as well, of which there are now 17. So it's we've covered lots more topics. It covers things like the changing ends process from a 323 and a 66 and a 146 and Dostos, because the 146 and Dostos is now in Training Centre. You've got map navigation tutorial. You've got all sorts of things going on in the in-game tutorials that talk you through different things, how to drive a train from the inside, but also another tutorial does exactly the same, but from an external camera, showing you what to do to drive the train from an external camera. So if you're new, hopefully there's lots of stuff in there. Really appreciate any feedback you've got on Training Centre and how we can take it forward. But it is really useful to have those tutorials that you can access from within the pause screen on the help button. So yeah, let us know what you think.
And again, just helping that immersion, accessibility to get access to the Learning the Trains, which also supports new players coming in with the free starter pack. Speaking of the free starter pack, another thing kind of bundled in with this is in the Training Centre. We know that there's been a little bit of community conversation about learning, say, German locos. Well, the BR 146.2 and the Dostos have been added to the Training Centre to help with players when learning those German locomotives, and everyone who gets the free starter pack will also be able to enjoy these. So there you go, that's included within the free starter pack. And I've just checked on our questions list, and I'd seen we've just passed 420 questions, which is quite a few. It's quite a few. But one of those questions right at the bottom there, and again, I appreciate all the work our mods are doing to kind of filter these through. But while I've seen it, there's someone, Patriot, you've said, I've been hearing a lot about this free upgrade, and it's hard to know what's true. So can I, a Train Sim World 4 user, upgrade to the standard edition for free or not, or do I just upgrade to the starter pack? So again, we'll try and be as clear as we can. We'll probably come back to this. Looking at the starter pack, this is essentially a free Training Centre upgrade. That means that you will be able to upgrade to Train Sim World 5, bring any compatible content you have on Train Sim World. So if you own Train Sim World 4, any of that content will come with you. You won't get the Train Sim World 5 core standard routes, which is the West Coast Main Line, which is the San Bernardino line and the Frankfurt Fulda. You won't get those. Those are part of standard edition. You can buy those as regional packs from launch. You can buy the locos. You can buy the Pendolino individually from launch. You can buy all that if you want it. But if you just want to get into Train Sim World 5 for free, you can claim this pack for the first 30 days and you can keep it forever beyond those 30 days. And that will be yours, and you will get the most out of these new features. So I hope that makes it really clear. We'll try and keep this conversation up. Again, there are fantastic packs that you can buy. We've been talking about these, and we've been talking a bit about the features that are included on them. But again, if you are interested in this free upgrade path, that is a way you can upgrade, and it won't include the standard edition content, but it will include your way to bring compatible content across, or any of your friends or anyone that has never played Train Sim World 4 or Train Sim World before at all can get this and get into Training Centre with those locos and with the BR 146 for free permanently, as long as they claim before October 17th. So a lot of words, but it's a really fantastic pack. We are really proud that we've been able to deliver that this year. So where are we on our list? I believe we ticked off all of the feature notes. I will make a couple mentions here. So suspension improvements, we have talked about this in the past. We've just been able to deliver those to Train Sim World 4 players, and we've been seeing some really good feedback on those. We've also been seeing some feedback that we'll take a note of and we'll look at in the future. I think there are some trains which are bouncier than usual, is a good way of putting it. But thank you for the feedback on that. We'll be taking that forward and we'll look at what we can do to improve those. But also suspension will be a standard feature moving forward in Train Sim World 5 as well.
We do have some of you have reported the steam engines bouncing a lot more. I think that might have been what you were alluding to, Alex. Yes. There is a fix coming for that.
Brilliant. But of course, we're still looking at taking that feedback as well as one of the biggest changes that we know that you were looking forward to. So keep letting us know. We have a dedicated space on our forums, which I can just give a handy link to in the chat. And it is in our player feedback area. So please visit this and let us know your thoughts if you've been using the new suspension changes. But they will be standard as standard moving forward.
Sorry, Mark, just in a question that Myron's just asked. Will the Training Centre 146 still be included when from pre-orders instead of getting the starter pack? Yes, the 146 is part of all editions. The Training Centre 146 is part of Training Centre now, regardless of how you get training.
It's a good clarification to make. I would say port of callers, please read through our FAQs. Don't worry that it is a massive document, but you can jump to where you need to go. But it does have a lot of information on all of this, as so does our roadmap articles as well. But where are we on our list? So I think we're kind of wrapping up on the Train Sim World section. So there is something I want to talk about, and it's a direct conversation we want to have as Dovetail to the players, and I think it's just worth acknowledging that the expectation of why do we need to make Train Sim World 5? Why does Train Sim World 5 exist? Because it's a fantastic product that we can deliver to you, but there's more to it than that. When you look at the previous years, through all the games that we made, so last few years, Train Sim World 2020, Train Sim World 2, Train Sim World 3, we had Train Sim World 2 Rush Hour as well, Train Sim World 4, and now Train Sim World 5. I think there's a little bit of understanding that we can help share on this. So Train Sim World 5 is a new game. Obviously, we have introduced a free starter pack this year, which is fantastic for people to be able to upgrade for free, but there are new bundles you can buy and new routes. And a lot of people do ask in the community, hey, well, could this have just been a DLC pack for Train Sim World 4? You know, could you included some of these core features? I suppose there is a way we could have tried to make that work. However, Matt, you may wince at me. Again, I'm kind of speaking more from we could definitely make it work. You know, there's definitely no developer ties to any of this point of view. But I'm sure there is a world we could have tried to push that angle. But I think there's something that I don't think we often talk about much, which is what are the benefits of it being a new game? And when you think about it there is a financial implication. Of course, there will be. Being a new game means we can get more reach, we can get more PR, we can reach out to more news pages, we can get more players coming into Train Sim World, which support us, which supports the development of Train Sim World, which makes new features, which makes more routes, which makes bigger announcement events. The more people coming into Train Sim World, the more we can talk about it, the more Train Sim World. And you're kind of seeing that a little bit with the Dovetail Direct and with the further announcements we've had, whether VR is your thing or not, we've been able to make Train Sim World VR. Whether Roblox is kind of your forte, or maybe it might not be, Train Sim World Tycoon exists. And that's, again, part of that reason. And we're able to develop Train Sim World further because of it being a new game. But there is still more to it. There is various platform support that comes that when we make a new game compared to just the DLC. And that kind of ties in just one side of it. But also, again, as we talk about the free starter pack, and I think, Matt, you were alluding to some of the core features again that come as a benefit of making a new game rather than just say a DLC to an existing development, to an existing core. You know, there are a series of advantages that allow us, but of course we hear the community conversation and we hear where that we hear what you want to see from Train Sim World. So again, this year we have released the free starter pack. And it is a limited time. I think it's 30 days. October 17th is when you can claim that. But part of that is because we want to experiment with making Train Sim World more accessible, bring more people in, but without the barrier to come across every time. So I thought I'd touch on that again. I know this conversation comes up. And I think the thing, as Nigel, you've just mentioned that, I know one of the difficulties with obviously a new game is, so we talked about a lot of the pros, there are obviously some cons, which means some certain content will need to be re-downloaded. We have tried to investigate ways that we don't have to do that, but for certain platforms it is just it's a requirement that when you have a new core, you need to re-download the things associated to it. And we're aware that that's a difficulty, and we'll do our best to try and support that in future. But I think it is kind of one of those difficulties that with all the pros that we get, it's one of the few cons that we just have to kind of sting through.
Just to put that from the other side as well, it's a massive problem for us too, because in order to do that, we have to submit all of those new packages that you're re-downloading have to be resubmitted for certification, just as if they were brand new things. So when you think about like 110 products that are on 7 different platforms, all the paperwork that's required, because it's writing documentation, filling in web forms, that works out at just shy of 900 certifications that have to happen. And the back-end platforms for uploading this stuff ain't fast. So if we tried hard to see if we could work our way around it this time, we weren't able to. And each year we keep talking to the back ends to see what we can do. That sounded really wrong. I'm going to rephrase that in future. We talked to Microsoft, we talked to Sony, we talked to Steam to see what the options are going forward for that stuff. But on the flip side, as I mentioned earlier on, because it was a brand new upload, it made complete sense, and it was a completely logical thing to rebuild all of the content for Xbox, which would have just meant a complete fresh re-download. If we'd done it or if we had been able to do it on the old version, you'd still have had a complete download of the entire bit library again anyway. So it's, with the kind of some of these sweeping changes, it's like we try and see what we can do for that stuff, because we're doing you've got to do a full download. So it's unfortunate. The free edition at least is mitigating the cost barrier. But there's nothing we can do at the moment, at least, about the download again barrier. So I'm afraid that's gonna be how it has to stay.
But behind the scenes, we're looking at it. I mean, it's not like we don't hear the difficulties that players face when downloading loads of new content or having to re-download it year on year. And I think some of the changes we've made with achievements as well, with the achievements coming in every cycle needing to be re-unlocked. Again, that's why we've made some of the changes to kind of keep achievements from Train Sim World 5 being the Train Sim World 5 core achievements onwards. Again, to support that, and because we've been hearing some of the discussion that's happened with that feeling. So we're listening, we're doing our best. But I thought it was worth touching on that, because there is a lot of things that it's easy to see from kind of just a player perspective, and as a fan of Train Sim World, it's easy to see, well, wouldn't it just be better this way? But there are a lot of reasons why. Kind of from the more technical side of things, from the more platform side of things, the setup side of things, there are a lot of advantages we get, and of course you are able to see some of those advantages through the different things that we offer. But the free starter pack this year has been the best thing I think that we can offer as well, as a way to get into Train Sim World 5 and bring way more players in than hopefully we've ever seen. So right, we are I think 8:30. When did we start at 7:30? No, we started at 7. We're about an hour and a half in, and we've just finished Train Sim World 5. So there is still a lot to go. I want to touch on the future announcements we made. The Take a Ticket. I really hope you enjoyed the Take a Ticket show, because
it was brilliant, Alex. Really well done on that. It was brilliant.
It was an idea a few of us had, and we were hoping it would turn out well, but the Blueprint folks just made it look fantastic. We've got all the assets here that we'll talk about. We're not just
question. Sorry, the one question I've got, and everyone keeps asking me, is who rubbed your cheek?
I wonder if it would be fun to keep it a secret, but it's he was he's a familiar face in the community. You may know him. His name rhymes with DJ, I think, but it was anyway. I hope you enjoyed the Take a Ticket show. Just to temper expectations, we want to talk a little bit, just re-summarize what we announced, but we won't be going into these to a super high level of detail. Again, what you've seen on the roadmaps, the new screenshots we've got from our partners and from us as well, partners related to Just Trains, with the Preston to Carlisle route. Some of those new screenshots are basically just pretty much what we've been able to get at this point in time, and they're very work in progress, they're very in development as well. And also after that, we'll touch on third-party updates, as we've got some news from Tadami Line by Union Workshop. We've got Athena Simulations. We've got Alan Thompson Sim with their first route teasers. I've seen in the Discord, you're all trying to figure out where that is. Keeper, I think there was a mention that you're going to try and hire the GeoGuessr person to try and figure out exactly where the screenshot was taken. So good luck. But we've also got some news from Rivet and Skyhook Games as well, with new announcements too. So that's where we're going next. We'll still try and answer some more questions as we go, but we might still be here for another hour or so. One thing before we leave Train Sim World 5 that I want to mention, it's been a bit of a passion project from myself, but also from Adam in the Dovetail Live team and Jacob from the Dovetail Live team. We'll talk about this more in, I guess, the end or middle of September. But something we want to bring with Train Sim World 5 is a little bit of fun with mastery, and try and bring a little bit more interest to the mastery system. And this is fresh from our creative team, I believe earlier today. It might have been late yesterday as well. And these are little badges that you'll be able to collect from October, so October 2024, so after the release of Train Sim World 5. You'll be able to collect them by doing a monthly set of personal mastery challenges. And they're cute little badges. They kind of have colors relating to the seasons of the month. And you'll be able to collect one every month, a new one as you go. So it's just a way to bring a bit of flavor to mastery systems. I thought I'd give you a little bit of a teaser. So this, we've not talked about this yet anywhere, but we'll talk about it more in the middle of September. Really, it started as just like a little bit of a way of trying to bring more interest to the mastery system and try and bring more rewards for players and ways to kind of flex and ways to show that you have been enjoying throughout the month. So, Right.
Just saying, there's two pink ones on there. So
Yeah, there you go.
I'll be playing.
Two different pink ones as well. So yeah, I mean, props to the creative team because I think I love the colors of these. But we would love to hear your feedback. We'll be launching this as kind of like a let's kickstart mastery as a personal challenge as well, with the release of Train Sim World 5. So something to look forward to there as well. Future add-ons, take a ticket section. Here we are. So here are all the names. I will try and read them as correctly as I can. But MBTA Commuter Framingham to Worcester line. That was our US announcement. That is the next US route coming to Train Sim World after the San Bernardino line with the core. The Great Western Express remaster. I know so many of you are excited about this. Liam has been sharing loads of images. We've got all the brand new images here tonight. Pfälzische Ludwigsbahn, Mannheim to Kaiserslautern. Jan and Lucas, you know what? I'm doing my best, okay, to pronounce that, but I appreciate the support. That is a German route coming as well. I believe we only have a route map to show. We're not really at a point where we can confirm stock or anything further than that. I know you're all really keen. Same with the Welsh route, the Cardiff City Network. I know you're really keen to know more about the stock. But just know that the announcement today is that we're going to Wales. It's coming to Train Sim World, and we'll talk more about it in the coming roadmaps. West Coast Mainline, Preston to Carlisle. This one is by Just Trains, and yes, they've shared a set of images. I know you're all super excited for it as well. We'll go through that in a minute. And in Zwolle, Groningen, our first Netherlands route as well. So look at that, 2 brand new country announcements coming to Train Sim World. And let's start with Boston. So I don't know, is this on automatic cycling or not? No, I think it's on manual. Okay, so what we've announced, again, all of this is very, very work in progress development, is you'll be able to head west out of the Boston South Station to Worcester, and you've got the magnificent HSP 46 and a double-decker coaches, which you can see right now. Matt, I don't know how much insight you have for some of these new routes coming up, but what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's really good to when we did Boston to Providence, which was our first MBTA route, and that's where you hit south out of Boston South Station. We did it with the F40PH and the single deck coaches, and this time around, actually, MBTA been incredibly supportive, and actually, because the timing worked better for them as well, they were able to at quite last minute notice even. Or short notice, they were able to organise a brilliant research trip for the team, put on 2 non-revenue trains, so that we had trains, team train. They had trains to themselves to get reference material, tours of everything, free run of the yard, so yeah, we were able to get the best possible reference, talk to the teams. That'll mean we can bring this HSP 46 with the double decker coaches, and the F40 and the single deck coaches are included in the pack as well. So you'll get, similar to the way the Antelope line works, where you get the mix of the different types of coaches. You'll get that here as well, which is another pretty iconic or a key part of the experience on these routes, is these weird mix-ups of different types of trains. So we'll be able to see that in here as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. My wife actually comes from this area, so she's looking forward to it even.
And of course it's pink. I mean, come on.
What's not to like? What's not to like?
I know, folks. I'm seeing questions. I know you're excited. We're not even. I mean, these are work in progress. These photos have been taken in engine. I believe they're not even on a route or anything yet. So we won't be able to confirm pricing. We won't be able to confirm layers fully yet. All of that will come in time, but not today. We have an October roadmap coming next, so just as a note, actually, while we're talking about it, there won't be a September roadmap. I hope that makes sense, because we're kind of launching Train Sim World 5 then, so there wouldn't be anything new to talk about. But I guess you're getting an extra long roadmap stream tonight. But the next roadmap, maybe we'll have more news then. We might not, though, for not for all of these. Part of the direct was to let you in on the journey, and we'll let you know more information when it comes. We'll try and get more information as soon as we can for a lot of this, but you will have to kind of hold this for some time. But like we said, some of these routes might not be far away. I've seen the projected timelines, but obviously we'll talk about them when we're ready to announce them. On to the Cardiff City Network. I don't believe I've got these in order, so I don't think we announced the Cardiff one second on the direct, for example, but here it is. This will be our first Welsh route. So far, again, what we've announced is you'll be able to enjoy diesel multiple units. It'll be a complex British network style route, and of course, it's our first venture into Wales. And this is the route map that was on the roadmap article as well. And there you go. I think it's a wonderful design. I believe there is a dragon hidden somewhere, is what James told me when he made this map. So if you've spotted that, I can't see it. I'm wondering if it's in the text, but there you go. Well, Wales is here. Well, Wales is on its way, I think is the better way of putting it. Wales is coming. It's not here yet, but it's on the way.
This is a really interesting route. It's the first Transport for Wales route, first Welsh route. It's also doing something a bit different to the normal routes. I mean, I've heard feedback about people wanting something different than the normal bus ride up and down a route, and this is definitely not that. This is lots of different short journeys that are complete. So you know, you've got the longest journey here is Station 7, Station 1 via Station 12, so Raider to Corrigan via Cardiff. But then you've got the little tiny journeys down to Cardiff Bay at 11. You've got the run down to Penrith at 15. There's all sorts of different things going on that will be that you can do on it. So it's I'm hoping that that this one will be appreciated for being a bit different in how it does it. I'm interested to hear what people think of network routes. Like I said, lots of people say we want more network routes. Well, this is a network route. Network routes by their nature are not going to have long single runs because you want lots of runs in different directions essentially. So that's where it changes. So this is the scope of the route, yeah, so I'm interested to see what happens once we can get more, show you more about it. This is probably the one I'm most hyped for, I've got to say. I'm super excited for this. I've worked hard to get this in the schedule, yeah, it's coming.
I've not seen anyone confirm if they've seen a dragon on this, so I don't know if James was just lying to me, maybe, but maybe it is there. I can't see it. But yes, finally a Welsh line. Now, this is Pfälzische Ludwigsbahn, Mannheim to Kaiserslautern. So I need to actually make a mention here. The first bullet point on here that says roll up the hills of Baden-Württemberg. I believe I've been told by Lucas that actually the actual area where those hills of Baden-Württemberg isn't quite reflective of this route. So just a note. But we do have a route map with this, so you still will be able to embark on passenger services from local S-Bahn, IC traffic. You've obviously got the busy hub of Mannheim as well, set in 2010. And here's our route map for this that we shared.
This one's another interesting, it's got different types of services, including a City Express on it. And you'll see down at 7, you'll see that there's a bypass line, and that's where the high-speed trains go. So again, you've got variations of path, and you can also see it goes by Frankfurt as well, which is an interesting place. So yeah, this should be a really interesting route with a vast variety of different things that can run on it, which again sort of hails back to that Dresden Riese, Frankfurt Fulda in terms of really broad variety of things that are going on there.
See in the chat, we want British routes. Well, guess what?
We just showed a British route.
We're showing one now. Just Trains, West Coast Mainline, Preston to Carlisle. I loved reading this on the script. It was 90 miles, Shap Summit, Class 87. There's a ton of information, more that Just Trains have shared with us in the roadmap article. So I would recommend diving into roadmap part 1, linked in the description if you're interested. But the images they shared with us looked phenomenal. And we'll just cycle through some of these at the moment.
Yeah, the Just Trains team have really got a strong command of the tool set now. They started off really strong with Blackpool Preston, but this is taking it to another level entirely. And the Class 87, what's not to like about that? The Class 87 is a really interesting train to drive. If you want to find out what a Class 87 is like to drive and you haven't got TrainSim Classic, then I believe the 218 cab car, the German BR 218 cab car, has a very similar run up, notch up, notch down type control to the Class 87. So yeah, magnificent to see the first AC electric coming in. And for me personally, I'm always a big fan of a bit of BR Blue. So here we are.
I'm looking at the chat again. We're going to be stopping at these pretty quickly because we still got more we want to talk about. And of course, also the information we've got from the Just Change team is in the roadmap if you want to read it, but it's still very work in progress, and we'll share more with the months to come. Just to jump back to the Cardiff route map, was there just I was told that if I turn the map around, that you can look at the river, there's a dragon, or if it's in the O. I'm not seeing it, folks. I'm not seeing it. I'm gonna need someone to ping me on Discord, I think. Okay, the Dutch route is next. It's on my list. It's not the next one up. I'm not confirming any timelines of these, but I'm just saying it's next on my OBS scene. So, our first venture to the Netherlands. So again, it features both express and commuter traffic, and you've got the ICM Koploper and the SNG Sprinter next generation units. And we do have a very work in progress image of the Koploper, which is just here. And this,
I've had some clarifications actually from the Dutch community that it's the ICM-M, the ICM Modern, I think it is, and it's the 3-car coach. So it's the 3-car one we're doing. So this is the ICM little m unit. So this is what essentially one of the things that changed was that door on the front used to open to much like on Electrostar, where you can, to allow, if the two units coupled together, it would allow passengers to move between them. But I think 2005 was when they got taken out because they weren't very good. They had all sorts of mechanical problems and so forth. So that's now just a panel, and guards or anyone, if they want to change trains, have to get off of the platform and move into the other vehicle. So yeah, it's obviously you've got that really iconic visual, but you're also sitting up there in that cab right up there at the top. It's I am so looking forward to getting this in.
I'll be honest, I haven't seen a real life reference image before we made this announcement, so I wasn't really knowing what to expect. And when I saw this image for the roadmap, I was like, wow, this is just not what I've seen before. So I'm really excited to see the final renders of this logo. Of course, this is again very work in progress in development. I'm pretty sure this is taken in a software called ZBrush. I'm pretty sure. So it's not even out of it's grey. It's just a clay structure, but it obviously looks fantastic, and the detail is already showing. Again, I appreciate people pinging me for the Cardiff map bits. I'll try and find it. If anyone does like a nice red circle around the map, let me know. And finally, as if left by chance to be the last one we talk about, the Great Western Express remaster. The next remaster coming to Trainsim World, fully upgraded route, overhauled stock for both GWE and Diesel Legends, a brand new timetable with guard mode, I believe it's the 2017 timetable, and something blue. And I have 11 images to show you. On the roadmap we only had 3, so that's a whole 8 new images you've not seen if you haven't been involved in our Discord community, which sometimes includes extra sneak peeks. So you can get involved, it's a lovely community space, but let's go through some of these images. Liam is a wizard, and he's also been very helpful. So thank you to Liam for getting these images to me and helping write some of the bits for the roadmap. But this has been a wonderful passion project for Liam, and truly showing the power of what a remaster can do to some of our older routes.
This is the something blue. This is the long-time players of GWE will remember the first Great Western HST, which never actually made it out, but you all found it there in the files and started modding your way into it. So the first Great Western is back. It's unbranded, but it's back. Fixed up, as is the first Great Western 166. They're now all fixed up to where they should be, so they're in there and being used actively. Here you can see the 484, I think it is, from Isle of Wight 2, rebranded as if it was a D-stock. Which is obviously what the 484 originally was originally before they remodded them. This is a sort of a fake TFL livery because it's not a real D-stock train. But what it does is it means that it livens up your background traffic. This isn't drivable, as far as I'm aware, but it does mean that you've got more of this other traffic going on in the background as well. So it really makes the scene interesting. Paddington, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think from this point onwards, these may be some of the images we've not quite shown yet. So enjoy.
So there's a key one on the left here, and that's the 387 in unbranded Heathrow livery. So that's extra services as well, and the route has been upgraded for the electrification to work properly up to Airport Junction. So you can run electric trains on there. The 387, if I'm rightly, is added as a reskin on London Brighton, and that D-stock train has been added as a reskin on Isle of Wight 2. So if you don't own Isle of Wight 2, you won't have that destock. These are not part of, they're layered into, essentially. So, and the other thing that Liam has done incredibly is all of Diesel Legends has been upgraded as well. So he's looked at suspension, he's looked at weather effects on the windows, and all sorts of things. So it's massive, just massive passion project, huge upgrade, yeah, massive great work there. This is the motion blur, actually, if I remember rightly. This looks like the motion blur effect.
Yes, yes, this is the one I was thinking about.
Yeah. So, and this is just a shot of the blue HST, which at the time, 2015, when this route was based around September 2015, and at that point in time, there was a healthy mix of blue and green trains all the time. And yes, the green trains are still there as well. It is now more of a representative mix of blue and green that you'll see.
You know, that screenshot is just absolutely, it's fantastic. I mean, it looks like a painting almost, I guess.
Todd Ford just elevates the routes so much. Well, one of the other things that Liam's done is he's modded the 166 into a 165, but it's not actually a 165. I just want to be really clear. He's set up the numbering to come up, and it goes in as a 2-car unit, but it's not. If you looked at the detail of a 165, they're actually quite different once you get into the real details. But what it's allowed him to do is to fill out all the 165 services in the timetable, so you get loads more gameplay. And this is the other 387 that's in there, which is the unbranded green one. And again, you'll be using that one on mainline services as well. When you consider Great Western was Route 2 in Trainsim World, and the how far it's come with the work that with the engine upgrades, and then what Liam has been able to leverage in terms of bringing it in and adding guard mode as well to all of it as well. It's looking every bit like it was a route released yesterday. It's really, really good, and a real credit to Liam.
There we have it. Yeah, I'm seeing loads of excitement in the chat. Loads. So, I mean, loads of credit to Liam, of course. But we'll be talking more a bit about the Great Western Express remaster when we're ready to get more information about when you can expect to have it. So we still have more questions coming in. I think we're currently at about 450 questions, so we definitely, I don't even believe we've passed 100, but we've certainly tried. But we will answer some more now. I know that various amounts of people will have different questions they want to ask, but just as a general note, anything that basically says or is some rendition of will X thing that's not been announced be coming, we're just not going to answer that because we've announced so much stuff. There's so much stuff, but obviously we can't talk about the future because we might have other plans for how we want to announce it, or we might just not know, or it just might not be coming. So to bundle all of that glorious unknown into a single package, we essentially just say we're not going to answer those kind of questions. So I believe James Anthony, maybe that includes some of the questions I know that you were hoping to get answered. We won't answer ones that just say will X thing be coming, because it's a little early at this stage, especially for the future announced routes. So let's take a breather. Let's try and answer some of the questions on the sheet. I will put back the slideshow of the beta images because, again, I just think they're fantastic. And that will play in the background while
before we get moving, Alex. Jake has said, so I have TSW4. Do I get TSW5 Basic and the GWR remaster for free? The answer is yes. But one thing I want to really emphasize is you must go and get the starter edition. It will not just happen on its own. It's not like an in-place upgrade where you don't do anything and it will happen. You will have to go out and go onto the Steam page or something and click the install button to get it. And once you do that, all of the other content will come across as well. But you've only got that first 30 days to do it. So please do pass the message around to your friends and communities that make sure you do go and get it in the first 30 days, even if you're not necessarily thinking about playing it until 60 days or something like that because you're on holiday maybe. Do go and claim it, because once it's gone, it's gone, and at that point it's a standard edition or something like that then that you'll need to upgrade. So make sure that you do go out there and get that if that's what you want to do.
Yes, I mean, definitely. I mean, we got some people asking in the chat, so will the free version, the free starter pack, include GWE Remaster? It won't, but if you own GWE already, you can claim the free pack and get the upgraded GWE in Train Sim World 5. Effectively, the way of thinking about it is if you already own GWE or not, the GWE that will exist in Train Sim World 5 will be the remastered one when it's ready. So that's the better way of thinking about it, but you will still need to...
Sorry, the same applies to West Somerset Railway and to Cathcart as well.
Yes.
So if you haven't been in TSW4, you're still running TSW3, and you've got Cathcart, so you won't have the remaster at that point. When you get the free edition, or when you upgrade to standard edition or deluxe edition or something, then yeah, that's when the version that's in TSW5 is the upgraded remastered version.
Yes. So just to further clarify then, this will be available on all platforms. There was some just incredible work from our retail teams to make sure that can work. It's a very difficult process and it's very different from one platform to another. This is available on all platforms for the same amount of time, so you can claim it for those 30 days. You've just got to claim it, okay? I mean, you don't lose anything by claiming it, and then if you think, well, I might get the deluxe edition or I might get a various edition, at some point you may as well claim it and pick it up later down the line as well. So, where was I going?
Although obviously, if you're thinking, you're looking at the deals for the standard, special, and deluxe editions. If you pre-order, there's obviously a bit of a discount to be had there as well as early access to be had. So, have a look at the other editions as well, because there might be some money to be saved and some extra time to be playing the game before everybody else.
Of course. And I think one thing that a lot of players, at least a lot of UK players I've been talking with, have said is that, well, they want the West Coast Main Line and they want the Pendolino. And that's kind of like their top two wish list items. I believe if you got just the West Coast Main Line on launch and then added the Pendolino, I believe that comes to the same price, without discounts, that comes to the same price as just getting the deluxe edition. So, and that will come with a discount. So it actually might end up cheaper to get the deluxe edition ahead of time if you want the West Coast Main Line with the Pendolino. So just look at your options. FAQs have all the different breakdowns of what you can expect, the discounts per platform, for every different user, and you can also see the special effects you get for those different editions as well with the free starter pack. So yeah, I mean, if you own all the special edition routes, well, then you can consider something like the deluxe edition or the standard edition or even the free starter pack and just bring them along. But see what's best for you, but make sure you look at it and make sure you do it within the first 30 days. Share the word, because the more people playing TSW, the better as well. Right. Beta images, answering questions. Here we go. So again, I appreciate there will be a lot of questions we won't get to. It's just the nature of it. I think we're 2 hours into the roadmap live stream. And we still got some more bits that we want to mention. We'll do our best. We'll answer as much as we can on the forums, but just know that we really are trying. We are trying to get through as many of the pressing questions and make it clear to players that stuff like the free starter pack exists and stuff like the various editions and future routes are coming. So this is a good one. Achievements. What will achievements be like? Will each DLC at launch have its own list of achievements like Train Sim Mod 4? I believe on our roadmap. So Train Sim Mod 5 will have a clean slate. It will have a new set of achievements that are only applicable to the new content. So that will be for the West Coast Main Line, Frankfurt, Fulda, San Bernardino, and new content. So I'm assuming Pendolino, FlixTrain. I think there will be a list of those achievements on our FAQs, but it will be applicable for new content, but not for old content, because we've heard from players that, well, every time there's a new game, you want 100% the game, you want to get platinum trophies, you've just got to redo all those past achievements, and we can't carry that progress across. It's one of those few cons that come with making it a new game, but we've taken that feedback on board and just said, well, from Train Sim Mod 5 onwards, it will be the new content only. So that's that on achievements. Will Train Sim Mod 5 be available for pre-install before release? I believe so. I believe on certain platforms you can do that. I would say port of call would be wonderful FAQs. I'm trying to take a quick scan through them now, but there are a whole bunch of questions that I want to filter through. But I believe you can, but it may be only on PC platforms. I will see if I can confirm that for the thread tomorrow. So what I'm going to also do is a lot of the questions that the mods have been gathering, I'll try and answer as many as I can on our Q&A thread and wrap that up at the end as well. Will it come with the soundtrack like Train Sim Mod 4 did? I don't know. I don't believe it will come with the soundtrack as part of any bundles, but you will be able to access our soundtrack because we've uploaded it to our YouTube channel. So I believe you can download that. I don't know if we'll put it on Spotify again this year. I'm not sure. Yes, you can Xbox pre-installs. Thank you, Lady Sophie there. Will any more pre-TSW5 trains receive suspension? So that's a good question. Suspension improvements were a huge list we delivered. We did have more that we wanted to include. I believe that did include some of the US routes. I think Long Island Commuter was on that list of things that we wanted to improve. But pre TSW5 trains, I think there is desire. I mean, Matt, I don't know how much that you know that we really want to kind of confirm or at least allude to.
I've got nothing to confirm. There is aspiration, obviously, and things like the F125 and so forth that are now part of TSW5. The Antelope Valley F125 and Road Thames have all been upgraded as part of that as well. So and they'll be upgraded as in TSW5. Those
Yes.
changes probably won't go back to TSW4 at this point. Yeah, I'd definitely like to see us do more older stock with suspension. I don't know at the moment what the practicality of that is. So making no promises at all on that front.
Yeah, I've seen in the chat that Ben from Moleman, hello. Ben said it would go on Spotify upon launch. So there you go. The music will be on Spotify. It is on our YouTube channel though. If you want to have a listen, it is absolutely fire. Ben was indeed cooking a 5-course meal with that song, with that soundtrack. Where will the Q&A link be? If you want the Q&A thread, I will link that in the chat just now. Again, what I'll do tomorrow morning is, firstly, I'll timestamp this live stream. So if you want to, if it's been quite a long one, which I think is understandable, you can drop out, check back in the morning if it's too late for you at all. And you should be able to jump to any timestamps with questions and bits. But here is a link to our Q&A thread. I will also wrap up some more questions in there as well. I know a lot of you are looking for leave and branch information. There is, we still haven't even talked about third-party bits, which we're going to get onto next. But we wanted there to be regular Q&A throughout, so that, I mean, if you had a question 2 hours ago, I don't know if we'd remember it. I think, being honest, so it's good to do regular Q&A throughout. PS5, will PS5 support keyboard on consoles? I'm not sure. I don't know if, Matt, that's something you're aware of.
There's been no change to keyboard and mouse support, so whatever it does at the moment for you is what it will continue to do.
Good to know. Did we talk about layer selector? I don't think we did. I'm just thinking about some of the previous features.
It keeps getting forgotten. It keeps getting forgotten. I forgot. When we had the ambassador visit, I completely forgot to mention it.
We have too many features.
It's a really cool feature. It's a really cool feature. Credit to Lucas for adding it. Layer selector is so you know how when you go into a timetable and we talk about how it's got all the extra layers for rail tours and for so on and so forth. And there are a couple of use cases where it might be nice to turn them off. So, for example, on Southeastern High Speed, there is a layer that allows the TGV to run up and down the line, I think twice in certain months of the year. And while it's an interesting aside, and we did it because, hey, it uses the same safety system, and one day they might run such a thing. It's kind of also the fastest thing you can run on that line along the main part of HS1. But some people have fed back they'd rather it wasn't there because, well, it's not done it. I mean, that's outside of the odd trial train that was run. It isn't a regular thing. Well, with this, you could just go into the layer selector and now turn it off, and then it won't bug you anymore. The other thing you can do with the layer selector is if you're having performance issues, you can try turning off any layers that don't mean as much to you, but you'd rather have a bit of frame rate back on your system. So you get a bit of choice over what's going on there. And then the last thing that's really helpful for is when you're looking at a timetable. Let's say you've just bought a route and you want to, and you're enjoying it. What helps make this route better? So if you go into the layout selector, all the routes you can't access because you don't have required components, it will tell you what they are. So it'll say what are all the locked out the layers, and then you can say, the one that's going to add the most from my experience here is I'll go and buy this particular bit of DLC when it's next on sale, perhaps. And then when you add that to it, then those layers will then activate because you then own those DLC. So it gives you insight into things you can't see, because without the layer selector, you wouldn't see that. You wouldn't know what the potential layers are. You'd be reliant on going to the community and so forth, which has been brilliant. But now you can just figure it out for yourself by just popping that box up and then seeing what you want to do. So the layer selector is incredibly powerful.
And I think I don't know if you touched on it there because I was trying to go through some of our questions, but someone mentioned in the chat, will it allow say you're on Xbox One or PlayStation 4, can you choose off layers to maybe save on performance? And yes, it will.
Exactly that. Yeah, if you can look at the layers and you can choose for whatever reason is the right one for you. What layers you want on or off. I mean, this will not help you somehow try and find a way to run a super detailed Gen 9 timetable on Gen 8, but it will mean that if the timetable is just causing you problem, then you can just switch off some layers that mean less to what you're trying to do.
Yes, I've got a question here. So why does my pre-downloaded standard edition of Train Sim World 5 have the free starter pack as the home icon? That is a visual bug, I believe. I believe it's just a store thing. Obviously, you can't pre-purchase the free starter pack. That comes out with launch, so you definitely own Train Sim World 5 standard edition. It's just a visual thing. I apologize for that. I think we were trying to get that looked at. And there was a mention, just again, on a free starter pack, we know this is probably the area where we'll get the most questions. How do you claim it and where? It will be on all the stores effectively as a different variant of the game. So if you look at the store pages, there is standard, deluxe, special. There'll be a free starter pack and it will be free, which is great.
It'll either have a download on it or a get or a install or something like that, as opposed to a buy.
Yes, but I think it's important just to clarify, you won't see that right now. It comes out with launch, so you won't be able to make the best use of the 5-day early access that Deluxe and Special Editions would, but you have to wait until launch. And that's also when we'll release the regional editions of all the routes and the locos as well separately. Do you have a list of all the layers on the Frankfurt Fulda line? I'm not sure if they're in the FAQ at all, but we'll have to have a look. I believe that was one of the ones I mentioned. And if you have the starter pack, okay, and you buy a Train Sim World 5 route, will that unlock the core routes? I don't know if you're trying to suggest the other core routes.
So let's say, for example, you're a Train Sim World 4 player, and you get the free starter pack. At that point, you have the core technology, features, and so forth from Train Sim World 5, but just your existing TSW4 routes that have now been brought across to TSW5. So effectively, you're still playing all your existing content. You're just doing it in the new game. If you then bought West Coast Main Line over SHAP, for example, then you'd get all the greatness of West Coast Main Line over SHAP, and that's it, on top of what you've already got in Train Sim World 4. It wouldn't suddenly then give you West Coast Main Line South, Frankfurt, Fulda, and San Bernardino. You want those, you need to buy that bit of content, perhaps by buying it as a bundle deal or by buying the individual ones that you want. So you get what you pay for, but you don't have to buy. Whereas previously you'd have to buy, say, standard edition to be able to buy West Coast Main Line over SHAP. Now you don't need to. If what you really want is West Coast Main Line over SHAP, then or Cardiff, then you can just pick that up when it suits.
Thank you, folks. I appreciate we've been through this a few times on the stream, but we know there's a lot of questions, and it's really important that we make this really clear as we can, because it is a limited time deal that you can claim, you can keep it forever. And typical Nathan Trains, I know we'll talk about leaving just next, but just to confirm, so if we look at these the graphics here, you see how standard edition includes training center plus the 3 core routes. You can just consider that there's a free starter pack version of this, which is just training center. And then standard is that plus 3 routes. And then deluxe is that plus Cajon Pass and the 2 deluxe locos. And then special is that plus 5 extra routes. So always think about, like, you will never lose something by claiming the starter pack. You won't lose anything. You can only add more.
Iron Fist actually asked an interesting question. He says, I currently own TSW3 and I'm planning on, sorry, I keep scrolling off the screen, planning to pre-purchase the deluxe edition of TSW5. My first time upgrading from a previous generation of TSW. How does bringing over your old routes work? It's automatic. There's a slight caveat, a little asterisk in the corner on that. So if you're on Steam, then it's automatic. When you install TSW5, suddenly it'll notice it's got lots of extra DLC, and you'll get all of that as well, all the stuff that you own in TSW3, including the core routes of TSW3. If you're on Xbox, the same. If you're on PlayStation, then prior, if you own 4 TSW4 stuff, it'll automatically upgrade it. If you own this TSW3 stuff, there is a very slightly more manual process required, but we're going to document that if it hasn't already been closer to the time. It's still free, but it just won't happen all automatically. Effectively, you'll go into the in-game store and you'll get a bunch of claim buttons that you can go and click to make that work. So that everything. Do not pay for stuff you already own. If for some reason it doesn't come across, because this happens every year, the platform, something goes wrong with one of the entitlements, upgrades and so forth. If you own a route on a prior version, you do not need to buy it on the new version. So email our support, get in touch, give us the details, and someone in support, probably the Grandmaster Chris himself, will be there to help you out. So just bear that in mind, that any content you own comes across to the new version for free. Any problems with that, go and talk to someone in our support team.
Yes, yeah, we're happy to help you with support tickets that you have. And box edition, there will be no boxed copy of Train 215 from launch, but there will be further details on a physical release at a later date. Right, Nathan, I'm sorry, and I know those of you that want to know about Leave and Branch, let's go to the third-party section, which we haven't touched on yet. And let's talk about, well, I've got the Skyhook, the rail link livery on screen now, so I suppose we'll talk about that. And then we'll go to River Games update for Leave and Branch, and then Alan Thompson Sims new routes, and then Athena Simulation East Coast Mainline Diesel Pack. So what you're looking at here is Skyhook Games work in progress, upcoming Leave and Mouth rail link livery for the 158.
That looks tremendous. First time I've seen that.
We should read the wonderful roadmap articles that we present.
Where are they?
Yeah, so
I've been buried in Excel all day.
No, that's very understandable. But yeah, so we got an extract here from Skyhook. So we're working with our partners here, and they want us to just mention a few things, but they've been working hard on further improvements to the ScotRail Class 158. And this month, they've got some in-depth screenshots for a new custom livery they're creating, the Leave and Mouth Rail Link livery. This will also come with improvements to the 5-circle line routes, with new gameplay and a new 5-circle timetable to take advantage of the upcoming Leave and Branch expansion coming to 5-circle line. So that's really all we have on this to share at this point. Again, I know details are really the killer here. You want to know more. But from Skyhook as well today, and you can see this on the Skyhook pages, there was a little bit of news. There was a little bit of new announcements in the form of Cargo Line coming back. Volume 3 and Volume 4. So Volume 3 Cargo Line will be intermodal. So new FCA twin spine wagons with new containers. And Cargo Line Volume 4 will be military. A new KWA well wagon with custom cargo. We don't have any screenshots for these at this point in time, but they made the announcement and we shared it in our roadmap as well. So if you are a fan of Cargo Line and you've been a fan of Cargo Line either Volume 1 or 2, there's more Cargo Line coming soon as well. So that's it from Skyhook. Let's go over to Rivet. And I need to hide my previous scenes because these images aren't the standard resolution. So Rivet have been doing some reference trips for the Leave and Branch. So I'll read this from them. So Rivet Games have said, ordinarily they use a wide range of reference material for making routes. So this includes cab rides, this includes track and signaling diagrams, photographs gathered from research trips. But because the Leave and Branch line, because of how new it is, they haven't been able to easily get access to the line in the standard way, so they had to improvise. Well, the images on Google were also a few years old, so that was when the railway was disused. So they've arranged a flight in a light aircraft to survey the route from 1,200 meters, I believe. And these are some of those reference images they've shared. So, you're seeing real life reference images being taken here, which is really cool. I believe this is the Leven station. This one being shown here. And if we go next, which one am I on? This one is their flight path. So their flight path for this reference trip is in blue. And it's quite interesting because we never really show this side of what it's like to make a route. And it's just quite an interesting experience. It's quite an interesting article from Rivet Games. So I really appreciate them opening up this different side that we've never really seen before. But yeah, you can see the path they've taken there highlighted in blue. And next, I believe this is I need to find on my computer here what the name of this image was because I can't see it in OBS. Let's see. Where's my Rivet Games folder? Oh no, it's not in the Rivet Games folder. Okay, it's in my other bits. This one. This is the countryside to the east of Markinch. So there you go. And the previous one we saw was indeed Leven Station. And then this next image coming up is the Cameron Bridge Distillery. So some cool reference images. Again, I know you're not looking at in-game screenshots, which you love, but I'm sure we'll get some proper screenshots and more news from Rivet Games later down the line. But it is always great to have an update, and they're still working hard as well. So that's it from Rivet. Alan Thompson Simulation, their new route. So I have seen the chatter, and I've seen all of you trying to figure out where this is. So I don't know. Let us know what you think. They have been teasing a little bit on their socials, but they're not going to reveal it just yet. Maybe it's an announcement for a future roadmap, so keep your eyes peeled. But also just an extract from their teams. So for those of you who are not aware of us, Alan Thompson Simulation, or ATS for short, is primarily railway and sim enthusiasts, set up in 2018 to bring some of the individual train sim talent to create a new community hub for fans alike. So they've been working hard on this new route, and they basically said, here's a sneak peek at early testing. Can you guess where? So do let us know. But I think they're going to be getting engaged in the various community spaces. They may be on the forums or on their various socials or in the Facebook groups. And I think they might have a couple more teasers that they're willing to share over the next few days or weeks about where this could be. And we'll look to confirm it in a future roadmap. I'm seeing some guests in the chat, but I won't confirm anything on stream, although one of those lines is very close to where I currently am at the moment. And finally, Athena. So Athena Simulations. I'm scrolling out. I'm mostly seeing this from our roadmap. So if you want a bit more detail, check out the roadmap in the part 2, where we take a peek into some of our third-party partners. But this is a new partner for the Train Sim World family. So Athena are working on a new gameplay pack, East Coast Mainline Diesel Rail Tours. And as you can see here, there is a Class 47 loco. Actually, I'm going to turn the speed of these slides a little bit slower. But you got
47484 isn't just a Class 47 loco. I've got to correct you there, because that isn't by Kingdom Brunel. That's an awesome Class 47 loco.
I apologize. My personal information is very low on this. I don't know, Matt. I don't know if you want to talk more about this.
I mean, I don't know lots about the pack, but it's a gameplay pack. You got your 47. It's doing rail tours, and for the much sought after Mark 1 coaches in BR Blue Grey. So I think it's gonna be a really interesting pack. It's got a really talented team working on it that know a lot and have been, the lead of the team, at least on. I don't know the rest of the team, but I know the lead of the team has been passionate about trains for a very, very, very long time. I know they are. They've been really excited to get going, and they've got big plans. This is Project One, and a good way to get started. So yeah, I'm really excited to see where they go.
And Jane, thank you for joining us in the chat as well. I know you set up a couple threads on the forums that I believe I was looking at you setting them up, but you can also find more news and more screenshots as well. I definitely didn't include all the screenshots. There was a whole pack. So if you're interested more, dive into our forums and take a look at what's been cooking over at Athena Simulations. But of course, for us, it's also a new partner to the TSW family, which we can't wait to share more news on in the coming roadmaps as well. And that also wraps up nicely our third party segment 2. So I'm going to take us back to the cameras. Thank you for I'm not closing out this yet, but thank you for sticking with us. I know we're still going. It's about 2 hours and 20 minutes. We don't have long left to go because we've mostly covered a lot of Train Sim World 5 and all of the roadmap content now. I did want to do another call out to the live stream overview. And this is essentially what you can catch starting from today at the top, August 22nd. It's right now, the roadmap live stream. What you're going to see over the next 3-4 weeks from us. You're going to see the West Coast Mainline preview in 7 days on August 29th, right here on this channel. And in a week after that, you're going to see San Bernardino live. It's worth mentioning actually the West Coast Mainline. You'll see the Pendolino there too. And you'll see all of Train Sim World 5, and you'll see the new features as well. It will be brilliant, and Matt will be there. I believe Jamie will be there, and we'll have a guest of Daisy joining us as well. So a fantastic cast. And so you should look forward to that. San Bernardino line the week after, and the week after that, a Frankfurt Fulda preview. Now, this is a little bit misleading because this says live stream calendar, but don't assume this is everything. The whole point of us kind of using the Direct as a way to kind of talk about Train Sim World 5 and talk about all the exciting things. We did that, I think the TSW segment was about 27 minutes long. So it's a lot of things that we've talked about for the last couple hours at least, crammed into a short amount of time. And so where does that detail go? If we're cutting it out of the Direct, where is it going? Well, it's going in these previews, it's going in the articles. So alongside the previews starting next week, there'll be a dedicated article for each of the core routes coming out and being written by fantastic Joe Rogers in our team, who's writing these, and it will include a lot more information about the gameplay that you can expect, the details as well. And then you'll be able to see it live 2 days after that in the preview stream too. So you're going to see a lot from us over the next few weeks, and we hope that you're excited. I'm just taking a look in the chat. So we will try, and Daisy being back is nice. Yeah, it definitely is. We're very welcome to have Daisy as a guest. Absolutely fantastic. Right, so the remaining bits that we want to touch on, we'll do a bit more Q&A now for a couple minutes. I know I think, I don't know if I was expecting 470 questions. I think I was maybe expecting just under half that, I guess. It's a lot of questions, but we've answered quite a few of them, but definitely not all of them. We're going to keep going back through these, but I think we'll probably have to wrap some of them up on the forums. We'll answer a few more now. Then we'll touch on Train Sim World VR New York, which is a brand new Train Sim World, kind of a way to experience Train Sim World, a way to experience train simulation. It's worth really clarifying that this, although it's Train Sim World, although it's Train Sim World VR, it's branded Train Sim World, it won't link in with your existing Train Sim World bits. It's not going to have compatible content coming into it. It's its own isolated, separate VR experience, which we're very excited about. And we've shared some kind of work in progress gameplay already, and we'll show you a bit more tonight. Not any new content, but we'll just show you the content and talk a bit about it. We'll touch on a little bit of TSW Tycoon. We'll mention Trains, City Transport Simulator Tram, and then we'll close off. So folks, if you've been sticking around with us, thank you very much. We've got a few more bits to go through, but let's take a look on some final questions we can kind of wrap up for Train Sim World 5. And again, I do apologize if we can't answer every question. We're trying to do our best, and I hope you kind of appreciate the more Q&A we've been trying to get into this as well. Right, so now I'm looking at the list. Okay. I don't believe we've made any changes to the in-game HUD or the mini HUD, unless Matt, you want to correct me.
Nope. Right.
Free roam will still be available for Train Sim World 5. Yes, it will. Any announcements with Train Sim World 5? Well, I suppose we've talked a lot about them. I don't know what you mean by announcements there.
It means platform and train announcements, so no.
Nothing to confirm. We've mentioned improved rain effects. Can you talk us a bit about what you've improved?
So this is the rain effects that were improved last year in TSW4, when I mentioned that the Diesel Legends at Great Western, that Liam had upgraded that. So what he's done is he's put the TSW4 new high detail rain effects onto the windows. That's what. So there's nothing new in 5, but it's part of the remaster that the old that effect has been brought forward into the really old stock.
And again, actually, while we're just on that, just to mention again with the free starter pack, one of the advantages is we know we can see some of the player data we get from people that play Train Sim World for the various editions. We've got players on Train Sim World 2, 3, 4, Train Sim World 2020. And we've got different pools of people on all those different versions. So again, if Train Sim World 5 came out and there wasn't a free starter pack, we'd probably see that population split kind of continue. And there'd be various different groups of people on different versions. With the free starter pack, as long as you will make sure you claim it before October 17th, hopefully, essentially, we'll bring everyone up to the best edition of Train Sim World, with all the new features, with all the new top floor lighting, with all the best bits that you can expect. And that will help also bring the community closer together as well. What is this in the chat? A Cardiff map be done by the release or after? I'm not sure, Mr. Trainman, what you mean by that. Sorry. If you mean
what's the release of the Cardiff, you'll find out more nearer the time when look in the roadmaps. The take a ticket are forward-looking things. They're all going to be after the launch of TSW 5 at some point, and as they come up to being close to release, you'll see them appear in roadmaps as normal. But as well as Alex said earlier on, what we wanted to do with Take a Ticket and as part of the Dovetail Direct was to just tell you everything and give you a really good long picture, not just of what's around the corner with TSW5, but some of the content. It's not even everything, but some of the content that's coming up after the release of TSW5 as well. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on the roadmap.
I think there are a lot of questions that are saying when will we do this, and a lot of stuff, anything ticket related, anything. It's just a little bit too early to us to talk about. I think it's one of the, we can get you excited about it, which is great, but we've given you as much as we can, and that will be as just about as much as we can do for now. I did see a question there.
I've seen a couple of people saying that does the guard mode change the driving experience? It has no impact on the driving experience. So there's no simulation of a guard while you are driving. That's a different feature entirely. Something I want to do, but it's not something we've got on a plan. So the guard mode is entirely about you as a guard. And yes, the train will not leave until you tell the driver it's okay to leave, for example.
Couple ones quick here. Great Western Express Remaster will be remastered in Train Sim Mod 5. So they are not, Ruben. Will we show anything about Tadami? Tadami, no! Those are the images I forgot to add. I knew there was something. Check out our roadmap part 2. There are 3 new images from Tadami line included in that. Actually, no, they're in part 1. Sorry, I'm even confusing myself here. But there are 3 new stunning images from the Union Workshop team that have absolutely been phenomenal photos. What I'll do is I'll actually just link it in the chat. Unfortunately, while we're live, I won't be able to amend this and grab them into the scene at the moment, unless I just throw them over our cameras, which might be a good solution. Because Tadami line is absolutely fantastic. The images that Union Workshop team have provided are just wonderful. Allow me a moment. Matt, answer questions. Fire away.
There's a few people asking about the 104. It hasn't gone away. It's still being worked on, but there's no date for it. Look at that. These screenshots are really good. The Tadami line is really coming along.
Yeah. Apologies, it's not a better setup. This isn't quite as high production as the Direct. I've just slapped these in front of our cameras. So we did have more images from the Tadami line, and the Union Workshop team have given us more details, and it just looks absolutely phenomenal. This image up on screen, just to let you know, is known as the Miyashita Three Brothers. It's a famous train spotting point along the Tadami line, which features 3 bridges within a single picture. So they've recreated that in a Tadami line, and just wow. I mean, the foliage, the flowers, the composition, the bridges, just brilliant. That's the 3 bridges images. We've got this one as well. It's just fantastic. I mean, we know the community have been seeing these and being reacted to these, but it is just phenomenal. And again, this is a Union Workshop route as well. And we've talked a little bit about in the past how Union Workshop just have that different style when creating routes that I think you can kind of see in these screenshots. And you can just appreciate, just look at this shot. This is probably my favorite one, if I'm allowed to be a touch biased. So there you go. I do apologize for not including that in the other section, but here you are. We managed to just throw them in on top of our cameras. And if you want a little bit from the Tadami line as well, check out the roadmap. It's in a part 1. Again, both roadmap links are in the description. There isn't tons of information we've got surrounding these images. This is mostly it, but it will let you know. And look, we are just hiding away behind these photos. I think if I just shift this, hello, there we are. So, Tadami line. Right, there were a couple questions. What a set of stunning pictures they really are. I think what we're going to do is we're going to have to pause there on the questions and continue on some of the other bits we want to show. But I really do appreciate everyone submitting. I mean, I can't believe we almost reached 500. We're just shy of 500. I mean, it's not a challenge to keep submitting them because we're kind of wrapping up. But that just shows we've got a lot of questions that we can support with the community. We'll do our best. We've got 3 weeks now until launch. September 17th, Train Sim 5, and if you pre-order Deluxe or Special, September 12th. We've got some time here that we're going to answer in previews. So keep those questions on you. Bring them to us on the forums, in the community, in the Discord, on the previews. Keep them with you. We'll do our best to answer them as we learn more and as we're able to tell you more. Right. On my list, we were going to go to VR New York next. So if we hop over to this might be too loud. I hope it's not too loud. I'm waiting for the audio to kick in. I'm just going to turn it down really far just in case. This is the gameplay of Train Sim World VR New York, our new our new VR experience that we've been developing with our partners at Just Add Water, I believe. Gosh, 2.5 hours into the stream. I've got a lot of notes. This is essentially, I mean, it's Train Sim World in VR, and it's on the Harlem Line route. There are 24 miles of route that you can experience on foot, and you know, you can experience the platforms. You've got a private apartment here with some interactable elements in, and you can also, of course, drive the M3A and the M7A trains as well. Just note, this is work in progress footage. So I know there are a lot of you that are excited about VR, but this is very much work in progress footage that we're showing. It is available. You can watch this on our channel. You can catch this back in a direct as well. But I think the important thing to note is that this is a MetaQuest exclusive VR as well. So I think there was some interest for players on like PC platforms, but this will be for the MetaQuest 2 and 3. And you can actually wishlist this now. So if you are interested, if you have a MetaQuest, or if you've been thinking about wanting to grab one, then check out the link in the description. There's a link to the Meta store. And just take a look. Again, VR is something that for some players, maybe it's not their thing, but for the players with VR headsets, it can be very exciting. And I know, Matt, you are very much a big fan of VR. You're always convincing me to get a headset, which I think is going to be a big drain tank on my wallet. But actually, I think they're getting more accessible in terms of price as well.
Oh yeah, no, the Quest 2 and the Quest 3 are very accessible. And Train Sim World VR will run on Quest 2 and or Quest 3. It's built for both of them. No, it's really good. It's an interesting experience. So I was saying, why the Harlem Line? A couple of factors in there. One is the majority or the larger audience on the Quest is American. And then looking at kind of candidate American routes that would fit a Quest style experience, it really wanted to be something like the Harlem Line, which is, you know, more of a short stopping commuter route. Because when you're sitting when you're on a Quest 2 or a Quest 3 headset, you're obviously battery powered. Yeah, unless you plug it in. Most people don't plug it in, because kind of the really cool thing about a Quest 2 or a Quest 3 is that you're untethered, as they call it. You're not plugged in, so you'll use the battery. Well, the battery on a Quest 3 probably is 2.5 hours. Having long experiences that sort of take an hour or 90 minutes is not viable. So Train Sim World VR is kind of geared towards not just the hardware platform for Quest 2, Quest 3, but also what gamers want out of an experience on that as well. So it's a different sort of approach to the thing. Very, very keen to see what people think about it, because we are trying something really interesting here. You'll see the speed gate that we're going through here. So this is a more gamey game approach to it. There's no semigraph on Train Sim World VR because we don't want to melt everyone's headsets. There's just no way you get semigraph running on a Quest headset. But you're still going to get a really good driving experience. You're going to have a really fun time with it. I mean, the build that I've got at the moment is newer than this one now. You can drive the entirety of the route, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. There's some really cool stuff in there in terms of interactivity with you get engineers waving at you that you got to blow the horn for, and all sorts of things. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be different, and it might be the start of a foray into VR. You know, this is kind of a way to start the ball rolling, and get feedback, what you liked, and so forth. So once it's available, let us know what you liked and what you'd like to see. But just to be clear, this, as Alex said, is not Train Sim World that you're not familiar with running in VR. This is a brand new game built ground up specifically to run really well on on these headsets.
And just to confirm there as well, so there was someone asking, do you need a PC for this? So you will need the MetaQuest headset, so either the 2 or the MetaQuest 3. But yes, it won't be available for PC platforms.
And at this point in time, there are no plans to do VR on other platforms. But like I said, this is an experiment, and we'll see the feedback, and we'll see whether or not we do another one of these with a different route, or whether we do something different. There's lots of things to think about, and to learn from, and to listen to what everyone thinks.
And speaking of new games and new things that we've announced, we want to show you some more screenshots for, it's probably cycling a little too fast again, for Train Sim World Tycoon, which is our Roblox experience. So I just want to start this off, and I think it's worth clarifying. If this doesn't look like it's your thing, that's okay. It's certainly not. It's not for everyone. This is our new way of making a trains game, a more gamified version of essentially train simulation in the Train Sim World franchise with the Train Sim World family, but just reaching to completely different audiences, to a different platform. And I know some of the reactions to the community that are used to, are super realistic, are super thoughtful, wonderful looking assets. This is a very different experience, and it's aimed at a different audience. We're particularly looking at like younger audiences getting involved, but also just anyone that wants to just have a bit of fun. It's free to play. You just need a Roblox account, which is free, and you just sign up, and it does have some multiplayer elements. You can build up your station, you can collect your routes, collect your locos, like earn money throughout the game. So you've got like effectively a kind of career mode as you grow your station, and you can join other people on a platform. You can join them in their trains. It's just a bit of fun, and I think that's what it should, you should see it as. We're not taking away anything from Train Sim World developing this. We're working with our partners at Tailwind, who have been really fantastic, and you can kind of get a bit of a summary from them in the Dovetail Direct. They talk a bit about more, and they show the gameplay videos as well. But what I would say is, if you are interested, we do have a website for this. It's linked in the description. It's tycoon.trainsimworld.com. But we're trying something new, and again, we're looking at different audiences to get people involved in train simulation, from whether that's a younger age or any age you want. It's really for anyone. And in the direct, essentially, as Ben put it as best as he could, you can play this on anything. You can play it on your phone. You can play it on mobile. I think you can play it on your Xbox, your PlayStation, computer. Play it anywhere that there is Roblox, which is essentially everywhere. I think, we joked about a smart fridge, but I genuinely think there might be a way you could play this on a smart fridge. I don't know why, but you could. Anyway, I thought it's worth mentioning. Obviously, Train Sim World Tycoon. We will be talking more about it. It is coming later in the year. But I think it's just worth being clear that, again, if you're seeing this and you're like, that's totally fine, it's not for me, that's okay. But there will be some people that are interested, and they give it a go, and they might have a bit of fun, and so that's who it's for, really. Yeah, Train Sim World, Train Sim Petting Zoo as well. Bullet trains grow up so fast. There you go. Yes. But that was one of our major announcements in the direct. I have a panel here for the direct overview with the brands. So obviously, we talked about Train Sim World 5, we talked about Train Sim World Tycoon, we talked about Train Sim VR New York, and I'll just briefly mention City Transport Simulator Tram. Of course, if you've known about CTS, or whether you don't, this is our tram simulation in Tramau, a kind of a fictional city set, and you can kind of grow your own tram network. There's career mode, there's leveling. You can kind of become both a driver, but also you can manage your network as well. And that's recently had a brand new update to 0.3, which has a load of improvements as well. And the team is still working on feedback, because this is currently in early access on Steam and Epic Games, but it's also coming to consoles soon. So, if you're a fan of City Transport Simulator Tram, there you go. There's been a brand new update to get involved in. But again, if you're not interested and you're just here for Train Sim World 5, then that's okay, because we're not going to touch on it for too long. And I think I'm looking through my scenes. I'm not seeing anything we've not clicked on, which makes me think we've clicked on most of the things that needed to be clicked on, which means I'm coming back to the cameras. Here we are, folks. It's been about 2 hours and 40 minutes. We've seriously tried to answer a good list of the questions we can answer. There is a lot more. I know there's a lot more we haven't got to. But I think a better way of answering these questions, so I'm looking at this list, there's at least 7 or 8 on just West Coast Mainline, there's about 10 or 11 on Frankfurt Fulda, and maybe about 5 or 6 on the San Bernardino. The better way of answering these is just, let's check out the previews next week. Again, going back to the live stream overview, here you go. Next few weeks coming up, you'll be able to see these previews. A better way of answering them is just seeing it live. And we can show you live, and we can give you a live demonstration, and we can answer any questions, and we can confirm anything then and there. There'll be articles that come across ahead of these previews as well. And just British Kid in the chat, multiplayer. There is no multiplayer in Train Sim World, so not got any plans to add that. I don't know where that rumor has come from, really, but we've seen a lot of mentions of multiplayer. But no, we talked about all the features for Train Sim 5. So we hope you're excited. Right, now that was everything. I'm still going through my checklist, but that's the Direct. I think the best thing to wrap up with is just a reminder that Train Sim 5 is coming. We're really excited, and if you are excited, there are a variety of different bundles you can get involved in. Standard editions, your deluxe, your specials, or if you wait until launch, you can pick up the locos individually. We talked about the West Coast Mainline, San Bernardino, Frankfurt, Fulda, the FlixTrain, the Pendolino, of course, finally a Pendolino in Train Sim World. And if you want to upgrade to Train Sim 5 for free, you can also do that. So there you are. The roadmap live stream has been completed as best as we could. How are we doing, Matt?
Well done, Alex. You've been talking away like a champ for all that time. It's been incredible.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. There's a lot to be excited about. Certainly, I think there is, and I'm a train fan myself. I'm enjoying playing it as I am already. Sorry, not sorry. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff there, yeah, lots to be hyped about.
So I'm just seeing more questions coming through in the chat, but yeah, we'll get to the questions. Don't worry. So plan tomorrow is I'll log in tomorrow. I'll put some timestamps on this live stream. I'll go to that thread on the forums, which I'll put in the chat now. If you had any questions, I'll try and answer some of the ones I think are best to answer at this point. And again, we've got preview live streams coming up. We've got more to show you. We've got more coming out. Oh, what color is that shirt? I never answered that. That was like my gag at the start. It's black. It's the Train Sim 5 shirt. I don't know why you wouldn't have expected it to not be the Train Sim 5 shirt. But there we go. So thank you for joining us, everyone. It's been a long one tonight, but I'll timestamp it if you want to skip through. We're really excited for Train Sim 5. September 17th, loads of new ways to get involved, including a free starter pack, including a bunch of really valuable bundles that we're really excited about. The Pendolino is finally coming for UK fans. We've got the FlixTrain, we've got San Bernardino line, we've got Cajon Pass bundled in with Deluxe. Let me get the mega graphic up. I love this asset. Here we go. Everything Train Sim 5 that you need to know at this point is on there, although maybe not quite all the features. There's more features than that. And there you have it. Thanks for watching, everyone. I have a thanks for watching scene coming up, so I'm going to put that on. Have a good night or a good morning, wherever you are in the world. And we look forward to showing more of Train Sim World over the coming weeks. So stay tuned. All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.